Shalom, Israel, Shalom, Shalom. Brother Naquam, watchman for Israel, coming back at you with these precepts and another cold cut, giving, of course, our honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim Mashiach, Malaki Bashar. Double honors to the elect elders of the house of David that's been in this truth for decades and decades, patiently waiting and laboring for the second coming of our Lord Yahweh Shai. A hearty, mighty shalom to all of the mighty men of the Most High God who are out there in the highways and byways, pushing this truth, magnifying the ministry, presenting their bodies as a living sacrifice, and enduring all things for the elect. Say shalom, shalom. Shalom to all of the men that may not be out there on the highways and byways as of yet, but they're working on it. They're getting built up in the spirit. They're praying, they're fasting, they're studying, they're being diligent, and they're abounding in the work of the Lord. Shalom, shalom. Shalom to all of the Aquath out there, the sincere sisters that are out there zealous, diligent, and on fire, moving in the spirit of our righteous foremothers. Shalom to the ancient men. Shalom to the children. Shalom to the elect of Israel scattered abroad throughout the four corners of the earth. And shalom to everybody tuning in live through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashima Mashiach Wamalak Bashai, on a very, very, very mighty Sabbath day through the spirit and power of Yahweh and his only begotten Son Yahweh Shai. Also another mighty day of the Feast of Dedication through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahashima Mashiach Wamalak Bashai, and also another mighty new moon transitioning into the 10th month. So this is a major time of righteousness, sanctification, purity, and holiness through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shemel Shah. So Shalom Yvette McKellar, Kwame Yasha'Allah, Don Israel Tamid, T. Keeper, Hing, Shonda Liggins, Yashab Rael, Brother Azariah Shalom King, Gassian David, Yehuda Israel, Dinah 144K, HBK Lit, Solomon McFadden, Elder Daria Wash, Divinely Fashioned, and again, everybody else tuning in and that will tune in, Lord willing. Are you watching? Right? Are you watching? Are you circumspect? Are you paying attention to what Yahweh Bahashmiah is doing amongst these nations, amongst the nation of Israel, and your body, spirits around you, prophecies, geopolitics, so-called natural disasters, all hell breaking loose, man. I mean, there's so much going on in the earth, man. I mean, we have so much. I have a lot that we have to cover because Yahweh Shai, he doesn't stop. He's a consuming fire. So we want to touch on these current events that relate to biblical prophecy. We're going to dive into biblical prophecy and we're going to filter current events that are happening on a national level, on a global level, on a geopolitical level, on a spiritual level, on a local level. We're going to filter it all through the prophecies that have been set up of old through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashmiah Shah. And I'm excited, man. Right? These are exciting times, man. You know, I haven't seen, well, these are one of the times rather where there's a lot of things unfolding back to back to back to back, man. You know, and the more you watch and the more you dive and dig and look, you know, the more that you begin to see how the things that you see happening in front of you are all found in the Bible, man. And it's our job through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashmiah Shai to go into these prophecies. And as the watchman, it's our job to declare, you know, what we see, man. It's our job to declare through the spirit and power, you know, what we see. This is Acts chapter 20 and verse number, I'm going to start at 25. And now behold, I know that ye all, among whom I have gone preaching the kingdom of God, shall see my face no more. Right? This is the apostle Paul, you know, speaking about going to Jerusalem, you know, being delivered up from the wicked Jews. And he told a lot of his companions and fellow laborers and soldiers that this would be the last time he would see them. Right? Verse 26. Wherefore I take you to record this day that I am pure from the blood of all men. And all of the men who call themselves watchmen, again, you don't have to be in WFI to be a watchman, right? The watchmen are men that were set up in the ancient world, primarily in towers and or walls, whose sole occupation, regardless if it was snow, sleet, heat, rain, night, day, if they had a family, if they didn't have a family, if they had money, they didn't have money. Their sole job was to watch for the welfare of the city. When the enemy came in, if something looked odd, if something was out of the norm, right? When the soldiers were marching from the enemy, you saw cavalry, you saw arrows flying, anything and everything that was detrimental and or compromising or out of order, you reported that. You blew the trumpet, you alerted the necessary officials and officers, and they would relay that message to the people. You know, so we, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shemel Shai, we have to make a claim that we are pure from the blood of all men, right? Because anything that we see, you can't say, well, nobody told me. You can't say, well, I didn't know it was going to be World War III. I didn't know about, these new laws they were passing. Nobody told me about this new legislation they're putting forth. Nobody told me about this, that, or the third, right? Verse 27, for I have not shunned to declare unto you all the counsel of the Most High. So it's our job through the spirit and power of Yahweh and his only begotten son, Yahweh Shai, to not shun all the counsel of God. When you shun something, you hide it, right? You put it in darkness. It's the job of the men of the Lord and you brothers watching, man. When you see something, say something. Make a post, man. Make a tweet. Put something on Instagram. Make a story. Make a reel. Take advantage of the social media that the Heavenly Father has given us, these platforms that he has made to spread this word and to further the ministry. Take advantage of it and declare the counsel of the Most High, right? So before we get into it, I just want to get these quick precepts. First Thessalonians chapter 5. You can see, man, I mean, there's a lot of tabs. Put this up. I mean, there's a lot going on, man. I got a lot of tabs, a lot of information we're going to dive into that's going on right now. Shocking current events. Some of the things we're going to go into, you probably haven't seen. Some of these things may be new. Some of it you probably saw. So we're going to dive into it. But first, this is First Thessalonians chapter 5:1. But of the times and of the seasons, brethren, ye have no need that I write unto you. For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. Right. So Yahweh Shah is going to return, when people are unawares, right? When people are preoccupied with their own devices and people are caught up in their own imaginations. All right. Reading on to verse 3. For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. But ye, brethren, are not in darkness, that day shall overtake you as a thief. Ye are all the children of light, and the children of the day. We are not of the night, nor of darkness. Therefore, let us not sleep as do others, but let us watch and be sober. So you should watch and be sober. That word sober, it goes back to the Greek of being able to curb your passions, being able to be disciplined, being able to maintain your integrity, man. Right? Here's the word in the Greek for sober. It says nepho. Sober on a carnal level often relates to abstaining from alcohol or other things that can alter your mind, right? Weed and drugs and things of that nature. But on a spiritual level, you also have to be sober. So sober, it means to be sober, to be calm and collected in spirit, to be temperate, dispassionate, circumspect. So when you're temperate and dispassionate, you're not emotional, you have discipline, you have self-control, and you're paying attention, you're watching. If you're circumspect, you're watching everything around you, and you're tying it directly to biblical prophecies and seeing how close one prophecy is to the other, and that's called measuring the times. So we're not the children of the night, right? We are called the children of the day, right? Let's read that again. First Thessalonians chapter 5:5. Ye are all the children of light, and the children of the day. We are not of the night nor of darkness. Why? Therefore, let us not sleep as do others, but let us watch and be sober. For they that sleep, sleep in the night, and they that be drunken are drunken in the night. And there's a lot of evil that happens in the night. And I'm not talking about carnally when the sun goes down, we're talking spiritually. And a spiritual nighttime, you have all manner of drunkenness, theft, confusion, sorcery, blindness, stumbling, people falling into holes and ditches. There's a lot of confusion that happens during this spiritual nighttime, meaning the walking in blindness. The service of the Most High, you got to be tapped in, man. I'm going to tell you that. You got to be tapped in to what the Most High is doing, right? You got the Most High putting a spirit on whistleblowers, foreign leaders. There's people making posts, tweets. There's hidden information. There's cryptic sayings. There's things you got to unlock. You got to unravel. There are things that are in plain sight. You have to do the digging, and you have to be circumspect and watching these different events, or you're going to be caught out there, man. You're going to be caught sleeping, and you're not going to be aware. Neither are you going to know how to prepare yourself for what the Most High is doing, right? You don't want to be drunken in the night, man. That's a horrible feeling. Drunken in the night. You're stumbling. You're uttering strange things. You're beholding strange women. All of those characteristics are found in Proverbs, the 23rd chapter. The traits of a man that's drunken and his mind is completely gone, man. Right? Let's go to 1 Peter. Right? 1 Peter chapter 4 and verse number 7. It reads, but the end of all things is at hand. Be ye therefore sober and watch unto prayer. And we can't harp on watching enough, man. Yahushua, that was a key part of his ministry. Watch, right? Watch and pray. For ye know not when the Son of Man cometh, at even, or the cock crowing, at midnight, at a morning. The Lord said, blessed is he that keepeth his garments, right? And watcheth, lest he be found naked and they see his shame. Watching was something Yahushua often talked about. Watch and pray that ye may be accounted worthy to escape all the things that shall come to pass and to stand before the Son of Man in Luke 21:33 on down. The Lord said the end of all things is at hand. The end of this financial system, the end of sovereignty, the end of being able to liberally travel, the end of peace, the end of you being able to go at your job freely, the end of the internet, the end of the world, the end of the so-called white man's power, his rulership, the end of being able to freely speak and do lessons like this. A lot of this is coming to an end. It's at hand. And understanding that the Most High said, be ye therefore sober. We covered that already. And stop getting caught up in folly and drama and madness, man. And watch unto prayer, right? Watch unto prayer. So let's dive right into it, right? One of the first things I want to touch on, right? Now, I just noticed this is actually 1 minute, 1 minute and 44 seconds. Now, if you were watching, I believe this was last night, 2 nights ago, right? Trump, he gave the Most High put it in a spirit to be able to give a presidential speech, right? Addressing the nation, if you will. Now, you had a lot of Amalekites that were there. If you don't know who the Amalekite is the biblical name of the so-called Jew. And I'm gonna just put this out there. We're not, they're cutting down on this, man. You're not going to be able to speak against the so-called Jew. So you better get it out now, you men, while you can, man. You better say what you want while you can. They even they're going to start catching on to these code words, man, that brothers are using. But nevertheless, he was out there. He gave a speech. But I'm going to kind of go into what happened. And you see this menorah they got, this 9-branch menorah, which is not biblical. It's not biblical at all. Now, this devil that you're looking at on the screen is from Bricks News. This is Netanyahu. Now, I'm going to play some of what he said, right? I'm going to play some of what he said. And like I said, we got a lot we want to get into. There's a lot that happened on that night. And there's a lot of things that are going to tie directly to biblical prophecy, right? So check out what this devil said. And everything is fair use. This is all fair use, right?
Day, the battle that the Maccabees fought.
Look at this.
I said, Mike, that we are fighting today the battle that the Maccabees fought.
Hold on. You heard what he said. Hold on.
I said, Mike, that we are fighting today the battle that the Maccabees fought.
He said today, as they exterminate the Palestinians, as they commit a massive genocide. I mean, there was stuff that it was so much information I had, the screen couldn't hold the tabs about how they're murdering the children, headshots. They have snipers out there shooting them in the chest. 70% are all children. Bombing hospitals, molestation, robbery. He said that today the war against the Palestinians, we're the Maccabees. That's what he said. We're fighting the war of the Maccabees. So he's saying that, okay, he's Judas Maccabees. Okay, the next guy next to him, that's Jonathan. And the third guy, he's Simon. This is the blasphemy and the pure wicked words that are spoken by the Amalekites, man. We're only 5 seconds in. This is going to be a long night. And I'm going to do a lot of pausing, right? I'm going to do a lot of pausing. I'm going to bring a precept out, most High willing. He said we're fighting the battle that the Maccabees fought. That's probably one of the top 10 most blasphemous things I heard in the last 30 days. Probably number 2. Right? Number 2.
I said, Mike, that we are fighting today the battle that the Maccabees fought. They fought for the survival of the Jewish people and the Jewish faith against an enemy that wanted to extinguish.
That's us. That's not you. That's not you. That has nothing to do with you. It has absolutely nothing to do with the so-called white man. And you wonder why the Most High has war with you from generation to generation. Stop talking about our history like it's yours, man. We're fighting the battle that the Maccabees fought. No, you're robbing a land that wasn't given to you. You're molesting children. You're dropping bombs. You're stealing identities. You're controlling the world economy, the media, financial institutions, promoting laws that disrupt the free course of the word of God from going out. Backing up world leaders to support your agenda that you may take over the world. Huh? Let me get this in Exodus, right? We're fighting the battle that the Maccabees fought. Look, man. Right? Let me get this. The classic. Exodus chapter 17. Right? And I'm gonna get verse number. I'm gonna just get straight to the point. And verse 15. And the Lord said unto Moses, right? It's like Exodus 17 and 14. And Yahweh Bashmi Yahushai said unto Moses, write this for a memorial in a book, and rehearse it in the ears of Joshua. For I will utterly put out the remembrance of Amalek from under heaven. And Moses built an altar and called the name of it Yahweh Nisah. For he said, because Yahweh hath sworn that Yahweh will have war with Amalek from generation to generation. So there's a perpetual war and conflict that man cannot resolve. There's no peace treaty. The Most High don't want a peace treaty. The Most High don't want no mercy. The Most High said he's going to have war with Esau, these Amalekites, from generation to generation. I mean, this is blasphemy, man. This is what you call blasphemy. Now, blasphemy is a sin unto death, man. Especially you being a damn Amalekite, man. What are you doing talking about the Maccabees? And then you got people, see, I'm trying. What's worse is the people that believe him. Because anybody could say a lie. But if nobody believes the lie, then a lie is unprofitable. When you have masses of people that believe the lie, now we got a problem. Okay, let me play this. Right? Let me play this whole thing. This is my first time watching this clip. I didn't watch this clip thoroughly. Some of the clips I watched, I kind of saw the title. I didn't proof it. So I'm kind of, this is a real time, right, response. And you should be mad.
I said, Mike,
I'm gonna say this. You should be mad. If you're not mad right now that he stole your identity, and during the Feast of Dedication on the new moon, on a Shabbat, he's saying that they're the Maccabees. The Maccabees, man.
We are fighting today the battle that the Maccabees fought.
That's blasphemy. I know I keep pausing, but I'm trying not to get emotional. Every time I hear him say that, man. When you read all 16 chapters of First Maccabees, all 15 chapters of Second Maccabees, you see the zeal, the boldness, the courage, the strength, the might, the resilience, the fortitude, and priestly work of our forefathers. Just to hear a damn demon come out and say that he's those people is utter blasphemy, right?
They fought for the survival of the Jewish people and the Jewish faith against an enemy that wanted to extinguish us.
You're the enemy that wanted to extinguish us. That's you.
Wipe us
He's
out.
not talking about the Palestinians. The Palestinians don't want to extinguish the so-called anybody in that region. They just want what they think is their land. But that land don't belong to them any damn way, right? But you're not fighting the battle of the Maccabees
from the face of the earth. We were fighting our battle, but we were also fighting the battle of civilization, because our civilization is based on the Judeo-Christian tradition. And if the Maccabees had failed, there'd be no Judaism, there would be no Judeo-Christian civilization.
Right? And remember, he's a Pole. He's from Poland. His father's from Poland. He's as Edomite as you could get. Right? We went into this guy, his genealogy, who his father is, and you know, and what they were doing, man. Right?
There would be no Huckabees. There would be no United States. There would be
no United States if it wasn't for the so-called Jew. Right? This is madness.
Civilization of freedom, the respect for our common traditions, our common values, all of that would not happen if it weren't for those 5 brave brothers. They actually made the whole difference. So that spirit animates these brave soldiers that are here today. And
hold on, but those brave soldiers are molesting little boys and molesting little girls and destroying children. And they're not the people of the Lord. And you have in Maccabees, you don't read about a 9-branch menorah. If I was there, I would have stood up and said, "Shut up." And he would have said, you know, they would have pointed me out. He would have pointed out security. And I would have said, hold on, I got a question. And security would have kind of stopped. Hopefully, I said, look, I got a question. And I would have asked them, okay, you're talking about Maccabees. Are you talking about First Maccabees or Second Maccabees? Right? And he might say, well, you know, whatever he want to say. I want to ask another follow-up question. Did they have a 9-branch menorah in the book of First and Second Maccabees? Or did they have a 9-branch menorah? Was it 7 or was it 9? Now he could say, he gonna say what he want to say. I'm gonna say, well, why the hell do you have a 9-branch menorah? I would say, what color are the Maccabees? Who did the Maccabees fight in the 5th chapter? the 3rd chapter. Where did you come from? Hey, they had to kill me right there on the spot, man. You know? They won't invite us to those type of, I don't even know where he's at, a cave. Look like in the damn cave somewhere. But you know what this is? This is that sorcery. This is nothing but sorcery. That's all this is. This is further bewitching the people to have sympathy for the cause of the so-called Jew. Right? Let's go to Acts chapter 8. Let's get a precept. Let's go to Acts chapter 8 and 9. So what is his purpose? He wants you, this is called an appeal to your emotions. And he wants the people who are watching to say, wow, these are God's chosen people. And they're completely justified in every war crime. Oh, you know what? Those aren't war crimes. The fact that they murdered children and women and are raping men and popping little boys and blowing up hospitals and grocery stores, they can do that because they're the Maccabees. They're descendants of the 5 sons of Mattathias. So, matter of fact, those aren't war crimes. Those are lawful and justified in the eyes of God, because these are God's people. And this is, again, part of their sorcery. When historically, archaeologically, prophetically, biblically, they do not line up to any characteristic of me and you and our fathers as the actual Israelites. But this is sorcery, right? Which is nothing uncommon. This is Acts chapter 8 and verse number 9. But there was a certain man called Simon, which before time in the same city used sorcery and bewitched the people of Samaria, giving out that himself was some great one. And that's what he's doing. He's moving in that spirit of Simon. Let's read it again. Acts chapter 8 and 9. But there was a certain man called Simon, which before time in the same city used sorcery. Now, sorcery is not always, like I always say, it's not a big black cauldron of green bubbly concoctions mixed with, snails and whatever, with some witch with a broomstick and a tall black hat stirring it up. Sorcery is manipulation. Sorcery is sleight of hand. Sorcery is double speak, right? Sorcery is all of that, man. Using the media, propaganda, psychological operations, false flags. It says, which before time in the same city used sorcery and bewitched the people. And he's bewitching the people, but not the men of the Lord. The Lord said there is no enchantment against Jacob. Ain't no enchantment against us by the Holy Spirit. And bewitched the people of Samaria, giving out that himself was some great one. So he's putting a spirit on people to believe that they are the great ones. Acts 8 and 10. To whom they all gave heed, from the least to the greatest, saying, this man is the great power of God. So he tapped into the spirit of Simon. When Simon did that in the days of the apostles, everybody gave heed from the least to the greatest and said, this man is the great power of God. So he tapped into that spirit. That same demon that Simon was working with, him and his fathers and these elites, they are also working with to bewitch the people, to have you believe that these people are of the great power of the Most High God, right? So they're appealing to your emotions through lies and manipulation. Let's go to Nahum 3 and 4. Like I said, I'm not spending a lot of time on this. We got a lot we got to get into. So I'm going to try to go through this. Nahum 3 and 4, right? The book of Nahum, chapter 3 and 4. Because of the multitude of the whoredoms of the well-favored harlot, the mistress of witchcrafts, that selleth nations through her whoredoms and families through her witchcrafts. So this great harlot is Babylon the Great. And Babylon the Great is essentially the mouthpiece and the hammer of the so-called Jew, right? They're the mouthpiece and the hammer of Amalek. Amalek, out of all of the sons of Esau and grandsons, and out of all the tribes of Edom, because you do have different tribes of Edom. Remember, Esau had multiple sons. You know, that's why you got some Edomites with blonde hair, blue eyes. You got ginger. You got so-called brunettes. These are some from Germany, some from over here. You got Scandinavian. These are different tribes of Edom. Out of all of the different tribes of Edom, Amalek is the top tribe. Just like Judah, out of the sons of Israel, Judah's the top side. You don't think Esau has top tribes? It's always a just balance. Judah's the top tribe on the right-hand side. Amalek is the top tribe of Esau on the left-hand side. And he's selling nations. That's what Nahum 3 and 4 is saying. The well-favored harlot is America, that they use to manipulate other kingdoms and nations, to buy into this agenda and this new world order through sorcery and mass manipulation. And it says families in Nahum 3 and 4. It says that selleth nations through her whoredoms and families through her witchcraft. So families are tuning in to different events. Rather, you have families of the earth, different actual ethnicities, but actual local families are under a spell. They're literally under a spell. Actual witchcraft to buy in and believe that these men are the actual Maccabees, man. I mean, give me a damn break, man. You know, and like I said, I'm mad. That's why this is going so long. I'm getting emotional.
Their comrades.
I wonder what Judas Maccabees would do if he was there. I don't have to wonder. We know what happened. We read it. You read it. You know what he would do. What he would have did. He did it. Let Jonathan be in that room. Let Simon be in that room. Let Mattathias be in that room. Let Phineas be in that room. Let Moses be in that room. Let Aaron be in that room. Let Azariah the priest be in that room. Let Zadok the priest, Abiathar the priest, Eleazar the priest. Let Onias be in that room. Let John the Baptist be in that room. Zacharias the priest be in that room. Joshua the son of Josedek, let him be in that room. I'm calling out top Levites, man. Let Jeremiah be in that room. He a top Levite. Let Ezekiel be in that room. He a top Levite. Let them Levites be in that room. He wouldn't get one tongue out of his damn mouth, man. One word. He'll speak out of a sword in the back of his head. They're not going for that. You put all them men in the room together, and they'll destroy that whole thing going on. So let me rewind this. Salakia.
Mates, these common values, all of that would not happen if it weren't for those 5 brave brothers. They actually made the whole difference. So that spirit animates these brave soldiers that are here today and their comrades who are fighting in Gaza or in Lebanon or in Iran, wherever is necessary to not only preserve the Jewish nation and the Jewish state, but preserve civilization against the barbarians.
Hold on. I said, this is my first time watching it. Listen to what he said.
In the Jewish state, but preserve civilization against the barbarians. The barbarians are out there.
The barbarians. You know, that's not the Israelites. This is how you know he's a so-called white man. He just spilled the beans. This is how you know he's an Edomite. Because that's a Roman philosophy. That's Greco-Roman terminology and philosophies. They're the Romans and the Greeks. They called the people that did not speak Latin or Greek, that did not follow the customs of the Romans and Greeks, they called them barbarians. That's the so-called white man. Where in the scriptures did the sons of God, the Jews, the Israelites, call them barbarians? Now you read about barbarous nations in a sense, but that's really the Romans and the Greeks. They was into that. You know, maybe a few times you read about them in the book of Maccabees, primarily about barbarous nations. But really, that was a Roman and Greek. They kind of spearheaded that. If you didn't speak Greek or Latin, you didn't wear that toga, you didn't wear that laurel on your head, you didn't bow down to the pantheon of gods, he called you a barbarian. He could have called them heathen. The nations, the wicked. Talking about they're out there.
They did a horrible thing to us on October 7th. They'll never do it again. But they're doing it against Jews in Sydney and Jews elsewhere in America and elsewhere. This is our common battle against the barbarians. We have won it here. We're winning it here. We'll win it everywhere. Chag Sameach, Chag Chanukah Sameach Likulchem. Toda rabba lachem. Toda rabba.
And you could tell he the devil, man. You could tell he the devil. Right? You could tell he is the devil, man. Right? I mean, it's written all over his face, man. It's all in his spirit. It's all in his mannerisms. You can tell that man drank an ounce of blood, man. Right? Now, this is Amalek inside of the White House. Let me pull this one up. This is Amalek. I spent entirely too long on that. All right, but that's okay. Right? Like I said, we got a lot we're going to get into. We might be here all night. Right? So let's go into this. So remember, Amalek was up in the White House. You know, Esau, there's a clip I'm going to get with this Edomite actually manhandling Trump. He was where's that at before I get this? Where is this at, man? They said Trump is the first Jewish president. Man, where is that at, man? I thought I had that one. Right? Let me see. All right, let me pull that one up. So Salakia. Right? They say Trump. So Salakia for the typing. But this was part of it, man. Now check this out. Look at this. Look how he manhandles the president. Now, I've never seen anybody can put their arm around the president and shake him up like he his nephew. He treated Trump like Trump was his nephew, man. Like he was the big uncle coming through, giving out change out of his pocket and bag of chips and stuff to his nephews. And he was sunning Trump. If you watch this, you know what I'm talking about. I've never seen anybody that can just manhandle the president like that. And it's kind of, people study body language. You know, people look into stuff like this. And you can clearly see who's running who. You often see Trump manhandling people. He'll shake people's hand, like the French president or Prime Minister Macron. He'll bring them to him. You know, he'll aggressively shake somebody's hand. A lot of these politicians, they play chess on the world stage. They'll let you know who's in charge. Now check this out.
And I said, this is our first Jewish president. It's true. Now he's the first Jewish president to serve two.
Look at this.
And I said, this is
You
our
gotta
first.
look at people's body language, man. You gotta look at their face. This guy on the right, he know he has power over the president. Let you put your arm over the president like that, man. You'll go up missing.
First Jewish president. It's true. Now he's the first Jewish president.
He said it's true. He giggled like a little girl. right? He giggled like a little girl when people found out his secret. You know, and he's an actor. Trump is an actual actor. But you know, that laugh kind of revealed that, hey, look, this guy's telling the truth, man. This guy, he's doing too much, and he's embarrassed. He got him giggling up there, man, like a little girl.
Now he's the first Jewish president to serve two.
Hold on, look at that. Look at that. Yeah.
Now he's the first Jewish president to serve two not consecutive presidencies. We thank you for everything.
That's right. Bad things happened on the second one. Namely, the election was rigged.
And he still got his hand on him. One more thing. When you watch that movie Dark Knight that came out a long time ago, I believe that was Dark Knight. Bane in the movie, I think he put his hand on somebody and he said, tell me who's in charge. See, the other guy thought he was in charge. Then Bane in the movie, he put his hand on him. It wasn't nothing aggressive. Wasn't anything violent. He simply put his hand on him and said, okay, now you tell me who's in charge. So anytime somebody got the upper hand or they kind of get you like that, we can tell who's in charge, who's really running the show. That's an Amalekite. Let's play it one more time.
Two not consecutive presidencies. We thank you for everything.
That's right. Bad things happened on the second one. Namely, the election was rigged. And we found out, and you see that happening. But
And you are
You see, hold on, you see how Trump kind of shifted a little bit. He shifted to the left after he was getting manhandled. He didn't want to get manhandled again. So he took a large ass step. It's lucky for the language, right? He took a large step to the left, or to his right, our left, his right, because he has to remind him, hey, look, you're supposed to keep up with this facade. You're doing too much. Remember, I'm the president, and I'm supposed to look like the president. I'm supposed to look like I'm in charge. You're doing too much. That's what's going on right here. Look at this.
that's right. Bad things happened on the second one. Namely, the election was rigged.
Look at this step to the right.
And we found out, and you see that happening. But
and you are the greatest president.
thank you very much.
And God bless you. I miss you.
And Trump gave him that little tap. See, Trump tried to give him that little tap so he can kind of re-establish his authority in that situation. So you wouldn't think that these Jewish Amalekites are secretly running American Congress and the Senate and the government. So give him that final tap on the shoulder to say, hey, look, hey, people got to know they have to believe rather that I'm the leader of the free world, that I'm the one in charge. That's what he wants them to believe. So again, there's a lot of, when you study body language psychology, there's a lot of, conversations that are being had on this stage in a matter of 30 seconds and words aren't even being spoken, right?
But
And you are the greatest president.
thank you very much.
And God bless you. I miss you.
That's that final tap right there. Now, why is this important? Because this further proves and shows that Amalek is running the show. And laws that are about to be passed, prohibiting speech, eliminating us to be able to do lives like this. Like I said, we relishing in these lives, man. And we're gonna say what we gotta say. They're gonna shut this stuff down anyway, right? We're gonna go out in the blaze. So them with this hate speech, misinformation, their false flags that they do to try to further have a reason for them to create laws to further restrict the truth. All these things is further proof that Amalek is running the show and they're using America as their police, as their sword. The Lord called the wicked his sword. Let me get that in Psalms, right? Let's get that in Psalms. So they're secretly running America, if you didn't know, And America is their voice piece and hammer to enforce their agenda. And Amalek is known for infiltrating governments and using governments to do their bidding. They're the puppeteer, and America's the puppet. They're the sword. This is Psalms chapter 7 and 13. All right, let's get this. I'm not going to put it up on the screen. Psalm 7 and 13. Salakia 7. Oh boy, 17, Salakia. Psalm 17. Let's get that. Psalm chapter 17 and verse 13. Arise, O Yahweh, Bashmi Abishai. Disappoint him, cast him down, deliver my soul from the wicked, which is thy sword. So the Most High is running the show, and the sword in this context is the wicked. And it's chiefly America. Now, the ones operating the sword is really the Most High, but the Most High is using Amalek. Because nobody in America has any power. I'm going to tell you that right now. The vice president here, he ain't running nothing about. The actual president, he's not running anything. I mean, you can clearly see who's running who's in charge. You can tell right now. And this guy on the right, he's a nobody. When you really go into the chain of command with Amalek and his elites and the Rothschilds and the handlers and the Rockefellers and these elites, this guy right here, he's on the bottom. But look how he's manhandling Trump. So that shows you that Trump is just a joke. He's just an actor. I mean, anybody could do this job. Anybody could be the president. Jenny Fox could be the president, man. Denzel Washington could be the president. I mean, it's just an acting job. It's all it is. They mold you, they train you. It's like going to acting class. How to sit like the president, how to dress, how to eat. It is what you do. You know, you got the teleprompter right there. It's not like you're writing anything or saying what's on your mind. None of these guys say what's on their mind, how they feel. They say what's in front of them on the screen. So Trump is just a low-level guy, and this guy, he's also a low-level guy. So imagine, you know, his boss and his boss's boss. So there's levels to this, man. These are two low-level guys, but one is lower than the other. So Psalm 17 and 13. Arise, O Lord, disappoint him, cast him down, deliver my soul from the wicked, which is thy sword. So the Lord uses America to afflict the other nations who do not comply with the so-called white man, right? Amalek. Verse number 14. Psalm 17 and 14. From men which are thy hand, O Yahweh, from men of the world, which have their portion in this life, and whose belly thou fillest with thy hid treasure. They are full of children and leave the rest of their substance to their babes. So these are men of the world, and they have their portion in this life. This is their time to rule. This is their time to wield that sword and to have the fatness of the earth. These are the wicked, man. Right? Let's get this clip real quick. Right? Let's get this one. This is right, where is this at? Not this one. Like I said, we got a lot we want to get into, man, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shemel. There's a lot of clips, there's a lot of news, shocking news, breaking news, right? Prophecies unfolding. There's a lot we want to get into, but I want to touch on this first through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shemel. Now, this is from, I'm not going to play all 6, obviously I'm not going to play all 6 minutes of this. But this further goes into Amalek, right? And why they do exactly what they do. Remember, you had that attack in Australia. We did the Monday Night Fire on it, right? We did the Monday Night Fire on Amalek being attacked out there in, was that Bondi Beach, Australia, right? You had this Amalekite that got his house shot up in California. So now what they're doing is they're further pushing laws to make it damn near impossible to say anything, to think anything about the so-called Jew. It's going to get to the point where you can't say Amalek, you can't say so-called Jew. There's a football player, Nika Pakua. He's a wide receiver. And now they're even saying if you do certain gestures like rubbing your damn mittens, that's anti-Semitic. He was on not a podcast, what they call those, a stream. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. If not, then you got to go find it. But they brought this football player on there, and he said the next touchdown he scored, he going to do this. And they said, you can't do that. That's anti-Semitic. And he said, well, do what? He said, you can't rub your hands like this. That's anti-Semitic. So you can't even do certain things because, the so-called Jew, he be doing this every time he's thinking about how he's going to plot against your land, how he's going to infiltrate your country, take over your Congress. So you can't even do certain things. You do that at work, you're getting fired. I tell you that straight up. Go to your so-called workplace, man, and start rubbing your mitts. They're going to jam you up. So on this article right here, it says, telling Americans you will literally hunt them down and destroy their lives if they criticize Jews and or Israel is a pretty surefire method of making people more anti-Semitic. So let's read this. Stop Anti-Semitism founder. That's a new group. They got all these groups now. They got the ADL. They got all these groups. They're saying that anti-Semites will be hunted down and destroyed. So guess what? According to their understanding, we will be classified as anti-Semites. I would be classified as that's what they would call me. I'm more Semitic than any of them, man. You are. We come from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. We don't go from Abraham, Isaac, and Esau. But according to them, we will be anti-Semitic. And they're going to hunt us down. We're going to get fired from our jobs. You're going to be cut out of society. You're going to be hunted down and delivered up. You're going to be arrested, tortured, potentially beheaded, So let's play this.
Confronting the global explosion of Jew hatred.
These devils, man. These devils, man.
Community did not choose, but one that we are now fully engaged in, confronting the global explosion of Jew hatred, unleashed since the attacks of 10/7. Stop Anti-Semitism was built for this. For years, we exposed hate, pressured institutions, and delivered consequences. But after 10/7, the scale of threat and the urgency of our mission changed dramatically overnight. Since that day, we have featured more than 1,000 anti-Semites on our platforms.
So they found over 1,000 anti-Semites. Hey, our names could be up there. Your name could be up there. Well, how do they know who I am? Because they know who you are. And as they continually push this digital ID system, they're going to link up all your social media, all your financial records, all your medical records, right? All of your what you buy, your purchasing history, what your behaviors are, what algorithm, what you like to stare at on your phone, what you're into. All of that is going to be linked up to one central location. They have these different, like I said, went into before, Palantir, Gotham, all these different government-based AI models to be able to link up and identify potential threats to the new world order, classify them, arrest them, and or blacklist them. So they have a list already of 1,000 what they call anti-Semites. Let's play that again.
We have featured more than 1,000 anti-Semites on our platforms.
They featured over 1,000 anti-Semites on their platforms. Right? Let's get a quick precept on that. Right? Let's get a quick precept on that through the spirit and power of Yahweh and his only begotten son, Yahweh Shai. Right? Let's go to the book of 2nd Chronicles, chapter 18. Right? Let's go to 2nd Chronicles 18 and 7. So we see where this is going. We see that they control America. That's why there's a flag of an Israeli flag and a so-called American flag. And I had something where it actually showed that they really do control the society. You know, I have to find it. But when you look up AIPAC, right? Let me see if I can pull this up. So bear with me, Salakia. You look up AIPAC, you see that a lot of the people in Congress, okay, that's not what it is. Let's see if this is it. A lot of the people in Congress are endorsed by the so-called Jew, right? A lot of these people in Congress who are passing laws, who are putting stuff into place, a lot of them are backed up by the so-called Jew. Okay, and I had that, and I want to find that. If not, I'll have to pull it up again. Right? I have to pull it up again on, let's see. Boy, man. Right, so bear with me. I have so much information. I wanted to show that as well. Right? If not, that's fine. It's no big deal. We can always right, we can always go back and find that in another place. Right? We can always go back and find that in another place. So Salakia. All right, that's okay. Right? But I want to get this in 2nd Chronicles chapter 18 and verse 7. And I'm going to actually start at verse number 5. So this is what you read about when the king of Judah, Jehoshaphat, and the king of Israel linked up to go to war. So let's check out what happened in 2nd Chronicles 18 and verse 5. It reads, therefore, the king of Israel gathered together of the prophets 400 men and said unto them, shall we go to Ramoth Gilead to battle, or shall I forbear? And they said, go up, for God will deliver it into the king's hand. So Ahab had 400 false prophets that told him that he was going to win the battle. And these men were essentially told to tell Ahab whatever he wanted to hear, whatever he loved to hear. It was the job of these 400 false prophets to tell the king that he was going to win this battle. They weren't inspired by the Spirit. The Most High wasn't working through them. This was their own belly telling him that he was going to win this battle. Let's read on 2nd Chronicles 18 and 6. But Jehoshaphat said, is there not here a prophet of the Lord besides, that we might inquire of him? So Jehoshaphat said, man, this ain't right. Where's the true prophet at? Is there not a prophet here that we can really talk to? Because these 400 men, I see that they not on nothing. Where's the true prophet at? 2nd Chronicles 18 and 7. And the king of Israel said unto him, or said unto Jehoshaphat, there is yet one man by whom we may inquire of the Lord, but I hate him, for he never prophesied good unto me, but always evil. The same is Micaiah, the son of Imlah. And Jehoshaphat said, let not the king say so. So the king of Israel hated Micaiah the prophet because why? It says, but I hate him, for he never prophesied good unto me, but always evil. And that's how this society is. They hate us because all we do is prophesy evil. They want us to speak well. They want us to speak good of the so-called Jew, not to call them out, not to expose them, not to go into these breakdowns, these prophecies, these current events. So they hate us. Just like Ahab hated Micaiah because Micaiah told the truth. One thing about the prophets and the men of the Lord, they're going to tell the truth and they're not going to care about your emotions. You make your forehead hard, they're going to make their forehead hard, right? If you're humble, they're going to deal with you in your humility. So we're like Micaiah, and the society is like Ahab, and they want to destroy us because all we do is speak about the evil that God is going to do to them, and we will not say anything good. You can't pay us. You can't bribe us. We're not the American government who takes bribes. You know what? Let's pull this up real quick. We're not Babylon the Great. I'm gonna have to just find it, right? Let me pull this up. AIPAC. Right. Let me see. This is not typing. So let me find this, right? Because they take bribes, man. You can't pay off the men of the Most High, right? You can't pay off the servants of the Lord, man. We're not selling out. You're not giving us, 30,000, 50,000. We're not going for that, man. Let's see. Okay. Okay, so this is close enough. All right, so let me share this real quick. And you can always confirm this. You can always look it up on your own. All right, you see it right here, right? Roughly 2/3 of current U.S. Congress members have taken money from AIPAC or other pro-Israel political committees. Our nation is bought and sold by a foreign entity. AIPAC must register under FARA. So you have Jewish lobbies. A lot of you brothers know this already, but you have a lot of people that may not know. So you have pull. Amalek has pull when it comes to legislation in America, because even though they directly may not be in Congress, they're paying off the people to fund their what they call it, fund their when they run for election, right? They're sponsoring them. So once they win the election, then they're obligated to speak laws that promote the welfare of the Jewish man. And about 66% of everybody in Congress have been bribed and paid off from the Jewish man. That's why America is bought. The government is bought. You have no say-so. People who think that their vote matters, you don't know what's going on. I voted. I did this. You have no idea what's going on. Let's get a precept real quick. Let's go to Ecclesiasticus chapter 40 and 12. Right? Let's go to Sirach chapter 40 and 12. So 2/3 of them, right? 2/3 of them. This Ecclesiasticus chapter 40 and 12. It reads, all bribery and injustice shall be blotted out, but true dealing shall endure forever. And the Most High is against bribery, man. So this is a corrupt system. They're a hypocritical kingdom because they have bribed men to enforce laws that promote their welfare and promote their well-being. You're bribing people. I thought the law says, let's get another law. Let's go to Exodus chapter 23 and 8. Right? Let's go to Exodus chapter 23 and 8. The Lord said, all bribery shall be blotted out. Here's another law. Exodus chapter 23 and verse 8. And thou shalt take no gift, for the gift blindeth the wise and perverteth the words of the righteous. Because when you begin to take gifts, you're going to be more inclined to show that person favor, even when they're in the wrong, even when they go off. You've been bought, and your emotions are now compromised, and your judgment is compromised because you have been receiving gifts. Look at this. And it's an Edomite saying it. A foreign country, Israel, controls the U.S. You see that? I brought that up earlier. Let me play this clip right here because this is kind of what I'm going into. Like I said, we got a lot we got to get into, man. We're only an hour in, right? And we're gonna bring it out, man. We're gonna go into everything, Most High willing, right? So check this out. It says a foreign country, Israel, controls the United States. Out of 535 members of Congress, only 10 of them reject AIPAC money, right? That AIPAC, if you don't know, is an Israeli-owned lobby that promotes the welfare of Amalekites. So check that out. 525 members of Congress are paid to put Israel's interests before yours. So we got them potholes. People are poor. You can't get a job. You can't get a fair shake, but they can get them $3 billion every year, right? Amalek can get that. So check this out.
Israel controls the United States, and I meant it. How are you going to argue otherwise?
Ana Kasparian exposes how Israel exerts control over the United States, highlighting the ways in which both the political right and left have shamelessly sold out their conscience in exchange for money.
Sold out. Sold their soul.
Okay, almost every single lawmaker on the left or right does the bidding of the Israeli government, either because they are legally bribed by AIPAC or they're afraid that AIPAC is going to target them in some political campaign so they don't win re-election. I believe there's also a possibility of a blackmail operation. Yeah, I mean, we do anything and everything Israel wants. Why are the United States taxpayers tasked with paying for the bombs and the military of the foreign government when that foreign government had an economic surplus in 2021? Yeah. The United States hasn't had an economic surplus since 2001. So yeah, our government is controlled by Israel.
So they don't want to believe me and believe you. When you go out there and tell people, when we tell people, they don't want to believe us, man. Right? So the Most High put the spirit, he put the spirit on a lot of these devils to come out there and say that, man. Right? He putting the spirit on a lot of these devils to come out and say that. Now let me go back to the clip with Amalek, with that devil woman going out and saying that they're going to hunt down, where is that at? Hunt down anti-Semites. Right? Let's see if I can find that one. Right? She said we're going to hunt down anti-Semites. Because now they're beginning to put laws out there. I'm going to have to just close out some of these to make it easier for me because it's so much. Okay, fakes attack. Trump's America. What's this one? All right, let's get this one then. We'll get this one. All right. Let's see. So this is what Amalek is doing. All right, so bear with me. I'm going to show this momentarily. And this is why a lot of the laws that are being passed both promote lies, and they're going to use it to stop this truth, man. They're going to use it to stop this truth, to stop the word of God from going out. So we already know where this is going. So check this out. This is so-called Rabbi Yehuda Kaplan. This is who Trump picked to combat anti-Semitism. And he says he wants to announce a massive censorship on Americans criticizing Israel. He says the State Department is going to have a whole division for fighting anti-Semitism and changing social media algorithms with the help of tech leaders. Now, both of these clips that I showed are 144. The first clip I showed was 144. This clip is 144. So if you are an Israelite, you have a Facebook, Instagram, Twitter account that's linked up to showing that we're the people of the Bible. You know, you like this post about us being the Jews, this street teaching. They're going to search you out. They're going to search you out. Your algorithm, they're going to do all of that. And you're going to be on that list, man. To be delivered up, to be arrested, to be persecuted, to be cut out financially, to be cut out economically, not being able to travel. You're going to be caught out there. That's what this is going to. This is what this is building up to.
The president is sending a very strong message. Think about it. Ironically, I get off a plane. I am the president's representative, and I am walking off with a yarmulke, and I have kosher food, and embassies will have kosher food. It is a game changer. The appointment is a game changer. And it's not about history. It's about education. And how do we educate? Indonesia has 350 million Muslims living in the country. How do we change their textbooks? How do we hold the people in Gaza accountable that if America is paying for UN textbooks and supposedly the changes are made, why are those textbooks not being used, and why are they using their old textbooks?
Hold on. You hear what this devil is saying? You hear what he's saying? Basically, he's saying, why aren't the people following our propaganda? Their textbooks are outdated. Their information is outdated. We need them to get caught up with the latest lies. We need them to get caught up with the latest lies. Listen to what he said. I know I'm not tripping. I know I heard what I heard, man. I heard what I heard. Right? Let me get a quick precept in John 7. Right? So let me get one quick precept in John 7. This is John chapter 7 and verse number 7. The world cannot hate you, but me it hateth, because I testify of it that the works thereof are evil. And they hate us, man, because we are testifying that the works of the world are evil, that this is demonic. Right? So let's play this. Listen to what he said.
Textbooks. How do we hold 50 million Muslims living in the country? Food, and embassies will have kosher food. It is
basically everybody's going to cater to the so-called Jew.
Is a game changer. The appointment is a game changer. And it's not about history. It's about education. And how do we educate? Indonesia has 350 million Muslims living in the country. How do we change their textbooks? How do we hold the people in Gaza accountable that if America is paying for UN textbooks and supposedly the changes are made, why are those textbooks not being used, and why are they using their old textbooks?
So, quick thought. This is what he says publicly. Imagine what these elites and the people above him say privately. He's saying this publicly, as if this is not a big deal. He has a microphone in his hand on a major platform telling you that they want to control the whole world. Octopus arms and hands and everything. This is public television. Everybody has access to this. If this is a podcast, a stream, anybody can see it. So imagine what they're doing behind the scenes right now. And that's why people are unlearned to say, well, we're conspiracy theorists, or, these things, you're making that up. And, they're telling you straight up. They want to control your mind and your spirit. Let's go to Revelation real quick, chapter 13. Right? Revelation, the 13th chapter. I'm going to read verse 15. Revelation chapter 13 and verse 15. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. So America's job and this system's job is to get you to worship the image of the beast. this modern day Roman system. They accept their agendas, to accept this philosophy, to accept this, for this to be okay with you. They want you to think that this is normal. And they very well understand that the Heavenly Father created man in his image and his likeness. But they want to recreate man to follow their image. The image of Satan, the image of accepting this as being truth, changing the textbooks, rewriting history, whitewashing all over again, getting rid of us because we're the main opposition to them, the servants of the Most High. I mean, we're like a thorn in their damn eye. And we know they're going to come after us, man. I know you got a lot of brothers that are scared. Well, what do we do? You know, you got people deleting their YouTube accounts, deleting their channels, packing up their camp signs. People not going to camp no more. You know, God forbid, but that spirit may fall on brothers. When stuff like this happen, we're encouraged to speak much more boldly. To speak the word of God in a bolder, more powerful spirit. He wants us to be made in his image, after his spirit. So let's play this. I've never seen this one either, so this is my first time hearing it.
That if America is paying for UN textbooks,
America's paying for the textbooks of the United Nations that go to other countries that America conquered to teach those other nations and the world that they're the people of God. Let's go to Psalm 64. Right? Let's go to Psalm 64. Right? This is madness, man. This is madness. Psalms chapter 64 and verse 1. Hear my voice, O God. In my prayer, preserve my life from fear of the enemy. Hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity. So he's speaking publicly, but there are secret counsels. What do you think the Club of Rome was made for? The World Economic Forum, these different particular summits, and other matters that we don't even know about. We're not privy to, but there are secret councils. And the main agenda is, they got two main agendas. It's lucky. They want you to think it's climate change, or they want you to think it's your carbon footprint. That's all a facade, right? Is it greenhouse gases? No, the two main agendas and these different secret councils are, how do we further destroy the children of God? And the follow-up counsel is, how do we further push the agenda that we're the real Jews? And everything else is secondary and tertiary. Well, how do you know you're not there? I don't have to be there. I don't have to be in those councils to know what the hell they're talking about, man. We see what's going on.
In Gaza accountable that if America is paying for UN textbooks and supposedly the changes are made, why are those textbooks not being used, and why are they using their old textbooks? We have to teach people it's not okay to educate your kids to be a martyr. Okay? And we have to hold those countries accountable. How do we battle anti-Semitism on the internet?
You heard what he said. How do we battle it on the internet? All you brothers watching, you sisters watching, he's talking to you. He's talking to all of us. Basically, I'm going to translate it. How do we shut the Israelites down? There's too many accounts. They have too much influence. They're waking up too many souls. They're messing up our money. They don't celebrate Christmas. That was $1 billion enterprise. They don't celebrate Valentine's Day. That was $1 billion enterprise. They're not into Thanksgiving. The Negro is the financial cash cow of an Amalekite society. We spend more money, and we are the #1 consumers in their wickedness. So we touching their pockets. One thing these Amalekites don't like, man, is when you touch their pockets. You know, when you tell them to tell the truth. Right? So he said, so how do we shut the Israelites down?
Okay? And we have to hold those countries accountable. How do we battle anti-Semitism on the internet? How are we doing better on algorithms? What companies can we work with? We are going to have a whole division within the office.
How do we do better on algorithms? What companies can we work with the algorithms to manipulate the data and to bring forth lies and to show you that we're the devil? He's telling you he's the devil. They might take this clip down, man. They might have told him you did too much. I got him taking this down. He probably got brought to counsel after this and said, you know what? You kind of went off script. You were supposed to kind of say this, that, and the third, but you spoke too much. I didn't pay him. We don't know this guy. He's telling you, how can we further control the masses of people and their minds?
Internet. How are we doing better on algorithms? What companies can...
And Trump, this is Trump's guy. Trump picked this guy out. He's one of the wise men. Every society has wise men. The Philistines had wise men and diviners. The Egyptians had magicians and wise men. The king of Babylon and Persia, they had counselors and Mecumen and these different wise men. He's one of these low-level wise men.
Can we work with? We are going to have a whole division within the office of the Special Envoy to combat anti-Semitism that is going to work on technology and working with the greatest leaders in technology, many of whom are Jewish and have offered their assistance. The office is going to be revamped entirely to be one of the highest profile offices in the State Department, because that's what the secretary wants and that's what the president wants. So we are going to have a very, very strong mandate on education, on protecting people, and how...
Somebody, he looking at somebody probably telling them, somebody probably doing this behind the curtain. He looking at somebody because he's spilling the beans.
That's what the secretary wants, and that's what the president wants. So we are going to have a very, very strong mandate on education, on protecting people, and how are we able to make a huge difference in combating what goes on.
Right? So I didn't make that up. This is what they want to do. They see you with your fringes on. Basically, they're going to be able to track, and they want to look at everything that you post, everything that you do, and you're going to be put into a particular category and or caste system. It'll be linked up in a central platform and database. Here's what else is going on. This is in Australia. And like we've always said, Australia is always a new world order testing ground. So check out what happened in Australia. Remember, this was the place where they had that so-called killing out there in the beach. Now check out what he said. Before a lot of laws come to America and Western Europe, they always use Australia first. That's something that you have to pay attention to. It's always Australia, then Western Europe, and then Canada, and then it comes to America. They want to go through a chain and tiered structure when it comes to how people respond to new laws and legislation. You know, they want to see how the people respond, right? So Australian government to introduce hate speech laws. Let me read that again. I misread that. Australian government to introduce strictest hate speech laws ever seen. Increase penalties for hate speech, making hate an aggregating factor when adjudicating crimes online. You will be arrested. If I'm doing a live, they very well in Australia, they can arrest me. All the stuff I went into, I might get a knock at my door. They're doing that in the UK right now. They're pulling up on anybody. They right? They knocking at the door and they are arresting thousands of people in the United Kingdom right now. Literally right now. What? It's 1:20. What is it, like 6 in the morning over there, man? They're doing that in the UK. It's coming to America. Is this your they might show, is this your social media platform? Do you go by the handle so and so and so and so? Is that your YouTube account? And they tap it, it's linked to this, it's linked to that, and you're gonna be caught out there. Let's get a precept real quick. So we're gonna let's go to 2nd Maccabees. You gotta go through the precepts, right? Then I'm gonna play this clip. Because everything we're showing you is filtered through the Bible. Everything that we've been going into tonight is filtered through the Bible. And this is slander, right? It's all slander because all we're doing is reading the precepts. This does not target Muslims. Muslims are not outspoken. We're the only ones who push this, so that they're targeting us. 2nd Maccabees, chapter 14 and verse number 5. I'm going to read 5 and 6. 2nd Maccabees 14 and 5. Howbeit, having gotten opportunity to further his foolish enterprise, and being called into counsel by Demetrius, and asked how the Jews stood affected and what they attended, he answered thereto. So this was Alchemist. He was one of the top most wicked men. The king called Alchemist and said, how are the Jews doing? How is Judas doing? How is Jonathan? How are the servants of God doing? Here's what he said about us. And we were fighting for our laws. We were fighting for the Most High. But here's the slander that he gave us that's similar to what this government and this society is doing. Here's what he said. After the king asked them, how are the Jews doing? 2nd Maccabees chapter 14 and 6. Those of the Jews that he called Assyrians, whose captain is Judas Maccabeus, nourish war and are seditious and will not let the rest be in peace. You heard what he said. He said the Judas Maccabees and his brothers, they nourish war and they are seditious. So that's slander. Were they really nourishing war and were they seditious? No. They were actually defending the Most High, his laws, his temple, and their people. But there's always people behind the scenes who look at the righteousness that we do and they manipulate it and twist it, and they call it hate speech. They call Judas Maccabees seditious, meaning he had speech that incited people to rebel. Look it up. We went into that word plenty of times, sedition. Sedition is speech inciting people to rebel against an authority or a government. So when we tell people come out of the world, separate from this society, they're going to call that hate speech. Repent, keep the commandments, separate from the so-called Jew. That is hate speech in their eyes. And they're going to increase penalties for hate speech. They did it back then. They called Judas Maccabees seditious. They called Paul a mover of sedition. They killed John the Baptist for speaking the truth. They chopped off John the Baptist's head. He told Philip, you're going to hell off, man. You can't have that man wife, man. And she's married. What the hell are you doing? And he ended up chopping his head off for that while he was in prison. Let me get that in Mark. Right, let's get that in Mark real quick. Then I'm going to play this clip. So they got on John the Baptist, man. This is the book of Mark, chapter 6, and verse number 17. For Herod himself had set forth and laid hold upon John and bound him in prison for Herodias' sake, his brother Philip's wife, for he had married her. So this man married his brother's wife. For John had said unto Herod, it is not lawful for thee to have thy brother's wife. So he told the so-called white man straight up, you're an adulterer. John the Baptist got on the so-called white man, and Yahweh Shai praised him and said, there hath not been a prophet like John. So you can't get mad at us for getting on the so-called white man when John the Baptist did it to the king, and Yahweh Shai praised him for all of that. So let's play this clip. Right? So check this out. Right? So check this out. Look at this. They have hate based on race or advocating racial supremacy. You're going to get arrested for advocating racial supremacy. If you read 2nd Ezra, what we call the shotgun, chapter 654 on down, you might go to jail. Deuteronomy 7:6, you go into prison. Deuteronomy 14:2, Isaiah 44:1, 1 Chronicles 16:13, Psalms 135:4, 2 Samuel 7:23, right? Many precepts that say that the Israelites are above all nations. Speak on that if you want to. That is now hate-based, and you're going to prison. These are the laws. Here's what he had to say.
The National Security Committee has agreed that changes will include the following 5 points. Agreed changes will include: 1, aggravated hate speech offence for preachers and leaders who promote violence. Secondly, increased penalties for hate speech promoting violence. Thirdly, making hate an aggravating factor in sentencing crimes for online threats and harassment. Fourthly, developing a regime for listing organisations whose leaders engage in hate speech promoting violence or racial hatred.
Hold on, you heard what he said, right? You heard what he said. Hold on, go back. I know he got an accent, but listen to what he said.
Crimes for online threats and harassment. Fourthly, developing a regime.
Developing a regime, meaning a task force
For listing organisations.
For listing organizations, which are CAPS, WFI, HOI, GMS, ISUPK, IUIC, SOT, the BOW, listing organizations
whose leaders engage in hate speech promoting violence or racial hatred.
Whose leaders engage in promoting violence and racial hatred. So they're going to target leaders of organizations and brothers on the highways and byways. I didn't make that up. That's what he said. That's what Amalek is doing behind the scenes.
And fifthly, developing a narrow federal offence for serious vilification based on race and or advocating racial supremacy.
And you heard what he said?
Racial hatred.
Hold on, this is my first time watching this too. Salakia, I know I'm pausing a lot, so Salakia, right? But here, I mean, you got to hear what this guy's saying, man.
And fifthly, developing a narrow federal offence for serious.
A federal offence for what?
Vilification based on race and or advocating racial supremacy.
That's a federal offense now. Check that out. That is a federal crime to go into the Bible and read the laws of God that show how great God's people are. That is now in Australia a federal crime. And he said they're going to vilify you. Remember, he just said that. They're going to vilify you.
Racial hatred. And fifthly, developing a narrow federal offence for serious vilification based on race and or advocating racial supremacy.
Vilification, man. So that's called being on a watch list. Public enemy number 1.
The Minister for Home Affairs will also have new powers to cancel or reject visas for those who spread hate and division in this country.
They'll cancel your visa if you spread hate. Meaning you won't be able to travel. Now, you brothers that study, you should know what precept comes to mind. If you speak hate speech, they're going to track you through your algorithm, through your social media, through your bank account, through your digital ID. They're going to cut your visa off. What's the precept that comes to mind? Right? Let's get it. Let's go to 2nd Ezra, chapter 15. Right? They're going to cut your visa off. May cut your passport off, being able to travel. 2nd Ezra, chapter 15 and verse number 17. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. Right? So you're going to be caught out there. You want to travel from one place to the other, you're not going to be able to travel. Okay?
Or would do so if they were allowed to come here. The
You
Safety
can't leave. You can't go there. You'll be banned.
Commissioner, the Special Envoy, and the Department of Communications will work together to provide online safety advice to address anti-Semitism. Over the coming days, I'll have more to say about the government.
So you see that they're already cutting people out. They're rejecting visas. Right? Cutting out passports. Being able to travel. And it's getting tighter and tighter and tighter. They know who you are. They study you. What did the Most High say in Ezekiel, the 28th chapter? Let's go to Ezekiel chapter 28. Right? What did the Most High say? He said that there is no secret that they can hide from thee. Right? Now you can say, well, I'm going to delete my social media. Okay, well, first of all, you're a coward. Right? You're a coward. Well, I'm going to delete my YouTube channel. You're a bigger coward. Well, I'm not going to camp. I'm going to tell you something too, man. Brothers that are scared, man, that are fearful that they're cracking down, you're nervous. Two things. Number one, get your spirit right. And repent and pray that the Most High builds up your faith. These are things, these are laws that can't touch you. Imagine when they have the power over your body. And there's a judgment to those that are fearful of the so-called white man and of these laws and of this system. There's a penalty for that. So if there's any spirit of fear in you of man, you got to repent and pray that the Most High only allows you to fear him and not the fear of man or the coming of the heathen. That's why it's so important to read. It's like you read 1st Maccabees and read 2nd Maccabees and how the heathen came against them, but the Most High always delivered them. There were laws passed to stop the building of the temple in the days of Nehemiah, but they still built the temple. In the days of Ezra, in the days of Zerubbabel, they always had laws like this to stop us from building and doing the work of God. So this is nothing new. They sent men and agents to Zerubbabel and said, what are your names? And we want to build with you. And, they've always done things like this. But let's go to Revelation chapter 21. Right? Let's go to Revelation chapter 21. And I'm going to read verse number 7 and 8. This is Revelation chapter 21 and verse 7. He that overcometh shall inherit all things, and I will be his God, and he shall be my son. But the fearful and unbelieving and the abominable and murderers and whoremongers and sorcerers and idolaters and all liars shall have their part in the lake which burneth with fire and brimstone, which is the second death. That's the second death, by fire and by brimstone. So if you're fearful of man and his devices to the point where you don't serve the Most High and you sell out or you conform, you're going to be destroyed. The Lord said, be not afraid of sudden fear. Right? In the book of Proverbs, the 3rd chapter. So I'm going to rewind this a little bit more, then I'm going to go on to the next thing.
do so if they were allowed to come here. The East Safety Commissioner, the Special Envoy, and the Department of Communications will work together to provide online safety advice to address anti-Semitism. Over the coming days, I'll have more to say about the government's response to Sunday's atrocity, including on gun control, and I note that New South Wales is moving on that next week.
So they're doing that in Australia, and it's going to spread to Western Europe, and then it's going to come to Canada and America. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And that's why it's so important to watch. It's so important to keep watch and pay attention, man, to see what the Heavenly Father is doing in the earth. He's showing you what he's doing. Right? Now, this is where we at? Boy, man. Believe where here we have it. Now check this out. Right? Now, this is what they're doing in the United Kingdom. Right? In the UK, England, and Scotland, etc. So it's like this is loading up slower than usual. It says anti-mass migration tweet, you get 18 months in jail. Nigerian migrant rapist, no jail. Welcome to the UK. Right? It's like here. It says welcome to the UK. So I want to zoom in, but I know it may be hard to see. Okay, here we have it. So check this out. This is in the United Kingdom. Twitter user is jailed 18 months. It's a long time. For 2 anti-immigration tweets made after Christmas market car attack that were viewed just 33 times. Only 33 people saw this, man. It's not like 50 people saw it. It didn't go viral, right? It wasn't, something that millions of people saw. 33 people saw this tweet. They pulled up on him in the UK and they put him in jail over a tweet. So as these laws intensify, you make a tweet, you got a social media post, or they dive into your history. Right now, they diving into your history. And you can't go to certain countries without having a clean social media background. You can look that up. They're giving people, I believe, 5 years of social media credibility. And if there's anything that's close to anti-Semitic, you can't come in that country. We kind of went into that already regarding Australia. Imagine 18 months, man, over a like. You like this brother video, you like this brother video because they was out there teaching and doing the work. And the Most High is going to see who's really about this business, man. Straight up and down. People are going to be scared to comment, to like a video, to make a post. And the Most High is looking at people. He's going to look at individuals and see how are they going to move as things become more and more strict. Who's going to tuck their tail between their legs? Who's all talk? You got a lot of people all talk. Who wants to give their life for the Most High? Are you ready to go to jail over that last social media post that you made about saying Kwam Yasha Allah? You have Tribe of Judah in your bio. You have APTTMH in your bio. Are you ready to go to prison for speaking the word of God? That's what it's coming down to. Not a matter of if, it's only a matter of when. We know it, they know it, the Most High know. How do you know that? It's in the Bible. Let's go to Luke chapter 21, right? How do you know it? It's in the word of the Most High. The Lord said that these things will happen. They're inevitable, right? Let's go to Luke chapter 21, right? So these are what Amalek is doing behind the scenes. That's why I started off with Amalek paying off government, running the Senate, running Congress, having these different foreign leaders that they work hand in hand with to put their agenda out there to target the men of the Most High, right? Let's go to Luke chapter 21. We're going to read verse number 13, right? St. Luke chapter 21 and 13. It reads, 21 and 12, Salakia. Luke 21 and 12. But before all these, they shall lay their hands on you and persecute you, delivering you up to the synagogues and into prisons, being brought before kings and rulers for my name's sake. So we're going to be arrested, not for Christmas and anti-immigration. They're going to come after anti-Semitism, the Hebrew Israelites, because we're going to be part of that blacklist. And we're going to have to give an account of what we said before foreign leaders and rabbis and kings and elites. You might be in a room with one of the Rothschilds, you know, and they're sitting there drinking a cup of baby blood, man, stirring it up, and they got your video on the screen in a dark room, and you're handcuffed on your knees in front of a fireplace, and they take that black bag off your head, and you're all beat up and bruised, and you don't know what's going on. You got men with guns all around you, aimed at you. And they got your video playing, and he says, play the video. Play it. Play the video. Right? He gets up and he slaps you. Is that you in the video? Do you really believe in Yahweh? Do you believe in Yahweh Shai? He might say, we can make all this go away. We can make like this never happened. Denounce the Most High. Denounce Yahweh Shai. We'll let you have access back to society. Right? We'll fix your whole digital ID system. We'll get you hooked up and you'll be able to go out there. Right? We'll put more damn currency into your account now. Right? We'll give you back your family. We're going to be delivered up, man. You might be in a prison cell, you know, with other so-called dissidents. It's in the scriptures, man. This is not a far-fetched, far-off understanding. We're reading about it. It's in the Bible. Right? Let's read on. In Luke chapter 21 and verse number 21 and 13. And it shall turn to you for a testimony. Settle it therefore in your hearts, not to meditate before what it shall answer. For I will give you a mouth and wisdom, which all your adversaries shall not be able to gainsay nor resist. So the Most High is going to put it in your spirit what to say. You're not going to be able to write a speech down, and whatever you think you're going to say, don't sweat it, brother. Don't sweat it, Ak, man. The Most High spirit is stronger than what you think is bold. You might say, man, I'm going to write this out, and I'm going to bring this precept out, and or I'm going to do like Stephen. You don't know what you're going to do. Only the Most High. He going to know what you're going to do. And he's going to give you words of wisdom. You're going to say the code. You might quote the whole book of damn Revelation. You might be like what they call a Precepticon. You go to the history, names, you shaking a hand, you bold. You might be cutting these damn devils to the heart, man. Like the seventh son and second Maccabees, the 7th chapter. So don't worry about what you're going to say. The Most High, he's going to say it for you. You don't have to do anything but believe. All you have to do is believe that the Most High is with you and his son Yahweh Shai. Have faith even until death, and you'll be just fine. You'll be just fine. It's important to pray for more faith and to have trust and hope in the creator of heaven and earth for you, man. Right? Let's get another precept. Let's go to Revelation chapter 2 and 10. Right? Revelation chapter 2 and 10. It reads, fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil, so-called white man, shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. And you might be deprived of light in that prison. You might be deprived of water, your family, your wives, your children, your brothers. A lot of these devils, man, they like I said, they study on how to break you down. You know, how to break you down. They're trained They get trained to endure getting broken down. Them CIA ops, them Navy SEALs, they go through hard, rigorous things. So they know how to break the human psyche down, how to break your spirit. Where your nervous system and that nerve and that pressure point, and how to, make it cold, then make it hot, then make it cold again, and put flashing lights in front of you and put sounds up and psychologically tear your mind up. Right? So we have to be faithful unto death, and we'll get a crown of life, man. So they got this guy, man. Look at him. He did 18 months. 18 months in jail over a tweet. Check that out, man. Check that out. Right? Now, what else we got? Like I said, man, we still got a lot more we got to get into. I think I'm about halfway through. Right? We halfway through. Right? We actually kind of just getting started. We're just getting started. Right? Let me see if this is something I wanted to get into. We kind of covered this already. Oh, yeah. Check this out. I wanted to show this. Right? I wanted to show this because this is what they into. Right? I had to show this one. Through the spirit and power of Yahweh and his only begotten son, Yahweh Shai. All right? This is the script that they've been given. So check this out. It's the push for anti-Semitism laws is not accidental. It's a deliberate assault on our freedom of speech. So check this out.
Anti-Semitism is on the rise. Anti-Semitism is on the rise.
The rise in anti-Semitism in Australia. The rise in anti-Semitism in Australia. Anti-Semitism is on the rise. Anti-Semitism is on the rise.
The rise in anti-Semitism. The rise in anti-Semitism.
The rising of anti-Semitism. The rising of anti-Semitism.
The caption on the bottom says it's like they all have a script. And we know they all have a script. We all know that the media is all owned by so-called Jews anyway. And they're all saying the same thing. There's been a rise of anti-Semitism.
Anti-Semitic behaviour, a rise in anti-Semitic behaviour.
Anti-Semitism in Australia. Anti-Semitism in Australia.
The level of anti-Semitism in Australia. The level of anti-Semitism in Australia.
Anti-Semitism we're seeing in Australia. Anti-Semitism we're seeing in Australia.
Anti-Semitism, which is anti-Jewish racism, anti-Semitism, which is anti-Jewish.
So they pushing hard, man. You can see it. It's on every network. Every news network, local, global, nationwide, they all have been taught, here's what you have to say. These executive producers are all Amalekites. And they tell these news anchors, put that on a teleprompter. We're not talking about the cat stuck in the tree. We're not talking about the Girl Scout rally. We're not talking about the local bar fight. We're talking about anti-Semitism. I don't care what they want to say. You type it up, put it on the teleprompter. Everybody got to speak about it. This is the witchcraft that we went into to work on the minds of the world. This is world news. This ain't just America. It's around the world. To work on the minds of the local family to have that sympathy for the so-called Jew.
Awakening of anti-Semitism.
This is pure anti-Semitism. This is pure
Anti-Semitism.
So you see that, man, right? Anti-Semitism is on the rise. So that's their script, right? That's part of their script. That's part of their agenda. And there's more. We're going to get into more, man, right? Through the spirit and power of Yahweh and his only begotten son, Yahweh Shai, right? What's this one? Okay, we kind of covered this because this one, they said they're coming after anti-Semites, which we know. Right? You know, hey, look, man, you know where I live, man. They know where you live. Let's stop playing games and let's get this thing over with, man. If you want hunters down, do it right now, man. I remember this Edomite, we was at camp in damn Little Rock, man. This Edomite said, I'm the type of white, what did he say? I'm not your average white man. And we said, well, what kind of white man are you? He said, I'm the type of white man that'll put you in your place. And we told him, hey, look, man, if you was going to put us in our place, you would have did it right now. And he ain't do nothing, man. He kind of stood there. He said, I'm not your average white man. I'm the white man that'll put you in your place. And brothers told him straight up, man, do it right now. The seventh son in 2nd Maccabees, he told his mother, whom wait ye for? I'm going to die for the laws of the Most High. That's what he told his mother. Eleazar, again, one of my favorite quotes, man, he said, send me to the grave. Let's stop playing games. Send me straight to the grave. Get me up out of here, man. Pack me up and get me out of here. That's what Eleazar said, man. Get me together, pack me up, and get me up out of here, man. Send me to the grave. That's the spirit we want to be in. You coming after us, man, you know where it is, man. So I'm not going to play that clip. I played that already. Right? I played that already. Now, let me touch on this real quick. This is okay, let's touch on this. I'm going to go back to this because you got this going on and there's war I want to touch on, but this kind of ties into what you want to go into as well. So you had Trump, right? That's what Trump came out and said, man. Right, through the spirit and power of Yahweh and his only begotten son, Yahweh Shai. It says, President Trump, new structure bill to modernize financial system. Right? Trump says the current financial system is outdated and will soon be replaced with a state-of-the-art cryptocurrency framework under the new structure bill. The entire financial system could go on-chain powered by crypto, right? So what does that mean, right? What does that mean, right? Let's get some other information, right, on this through the spirit and power of Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai. So, well, I think I had that twice. Right? Is this it? Let's see. Bear with me. All right, let me pull this up. So, like, I got a lot of links pulled up because there's a lot of information. So, what Babylon the Great is doing, and which we've been touching on from time to time, chiefly when we see, new events, they've been continually pushing, and this links up with this anti-Semitism. They go hand in hand. This links directly up with the anti-Semitism. We saw in Australia how they said, if we find out through your accounts that you are an anti-Semite, we're going to cut your visa. So these devils are looking into what type of individual you are. And through their digital system that they have and how they use different platforms like we went into, like Gotham or Palantir, etc., they're studying your behavior, your post, your tweets, your likes, what you stare at on your phone, what videos you're into, what you buy, your bank account, your ability to rent out places, buy mortgage, or pay your mortgage. All these things are going to be tied together, right? They have a digital wallet. They have a digital system, and if you're into the world, you'll be fine, right? You won't be affected. If you're into the world and you love this system and you don't speak up against the so-called Jew and his new world order and these things, you'll be fine. But if you're an Israelite that loves Yahweh, that loves Yahweh Shai, and you speak against this society, and you call the so-called Jew the devil, you're going into the prophecies, you're reading the Bible, you are going, as this digital system continually increases, you're going to be cut out because they're using these different platforms to link everything together, right? they're using, again, AI and these different algorithms to find out who you are. And you may not be able to travel. You might not be able to go to this place, to that place. You might not be able to go into the hospital. You might not be able to go into that bank, because they're linking up all of these things together, right? So this says, after years of talk, the Clarity Act has a real path forward. The White House and key senators have finally agreed to move the bill, and they put an actual date. January 2026 is when the Senate plans to formally debate it, amend it, and try to push it toward becoming law. So they want to revamp the financial system. If it gets through, it would finally set clear rules for tokens, exchanges, DeFi, and on-chain markets, something the industry has been waiting on for years. So they're shifting their essential financial system. Now, out there in China, what they're doing in China, let me make sure the screen is showing. I believe the screen is showing. Okay. Out there in China, where is it at? They have linked up CBDC to your digital ID. So your digital ID is essentially the digital version of you, right? Not only does it have your identity, right, but it also has everything else about you. It'll have your financial records, your medical records. It'll have your algorithms, your social media accounts. It'll be all lumped up in one. Now in China, they're using central bank digital currencies, and is linked to your digital ID. And they actually caught this guy out in China riding without a helmet, and he actually started getting into his bank account, and he tapped into his digital wallet, and they started taking money from him. But it was all linked to his digital ID. Now, we believe, as they continually promote this anti-Semitism laws and make things stricter, based off of what we post and what we say and what we do, they're going to cut us out of being able to travel, go out, our banks, our jobs, and we're going to be cut out of this, and then targeted if we're on a certain group or watch list, and arrested and delivered up. That's how they plan on doing it. That's what we believe, how they plan on doing this. Let's get a quick precept. First, let me not jump the gun. Let me read this. It says, a cyclist was caught on camera riding without a helmet. Authorities reportedly deducted a 25 yuan fine directly from his digital wallet in real time, deducting points under a local social credit system. You see that? So if you accept this system, right, in your mind, you believe it, you're doing it, you're involved, you're going to be fine. Right? But if not, you're going to be caught out there. Right? So I'm not going to play this clip. You can watch it on your own. But they linked up his digital ID, which shows who he is as an individual, his medical records, what job he has, different social media accounts, who his family members are, what kind of algorithm he's into, what he likes to buy, what does he like to sell, what does he like to purchase? Has he purchased a menorah? Did he buy a Bible recently? Did he buy an Apocrypha? As they study these things, based off of your behavior, people are going to be lumped into different tiers. And they got this guy, man. And he started taking money from his account straight up. Right? Taking money from his account. Let's go to Isaiah, the 30th chapter. Let me get a quick precept. Right? Isaiah chapter 30. Right? Let's go to Isaiah chapter 30 and verse 1. Right? Let's get the classic. Isaiah chapter 30 and 1. right? It reads, woe to the rebellious children, saith Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, that take counsel, but not of me, and that cover with a covering, but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin. So if you're covered by the spirit of this society, spirit of this system, right? You're an individual who's okay with the laws that are being passed. You're okay with the so-called Jew. You don't speak up against it. You know, you're not an Israelite. You're not in these particular hate groups or sectors, and you're just an average Joe in America, right? And you don't ruffle any feathers, right? You're not an outlier. You're covered with the spirit of Egypt. It's better to be an outcast for righteousness than to be accepted by America for your unrighteousness. Remember, Mattathias and his sons, they had to flee into the wilderness because they refused to take on a covering of Greece. And a lot of people are going to take on that covering of Greece. That covering is spiritual. They're going to put on that spiritual garment. They're going to spiritually get down with this system. Some people are already into it. You cannot take on the covering of Egypt. Right? You cannot take on the covering of Egypt. You have to continually serve the Most High. It doesn't matter if they track you. It doesn't matter if they link up your social media. We're not going to delete our YouTube accounts or our social medias or not go out there in the highways and byways or stop buying things that pertain to the Bible. We're not going to stop doing that. We're going to continually serve Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua to be according to his will. Right? But certain people, they're going to try to revamp and remold their life. And I really wasn't doing that. And that's my old account. Delete everything and act like they never existed just to conform to the society. Right? Let's get a precept. Let's get another one. Through the spirit and power of Yahweh and his only begotten son, Yahushua. Let's go to the book of Let's go to Sirach 27:1. Right, let's get that. Let's go to Ecclesiasticus, also known as the book of Sirach, chapter 27:1. Many have sinned for a small matter, and he that seeketh for abundance will turn his eyes away. So seeking for abundance is seeking wealth, glory, and honor, and you'll turn your eye away from wickedness like it never existed. Right? Let's read on. Verse 2. As a nail sticketh fast between the joining of the stones, so doth sin stick close between buying and selling. Right? So people that sin, that denounce the Most High, denounce his son Yahushua, that are part of this system, they'll be fine. But again, brothers like us, sisters like yourselves, who are going to continually do the work of the Most High, we're going to be targeted. Right? So they went into this guy in China and they start jamming him up. And I'm sure very well that he is not the first guy. Now, let's get further into this digital ID, because I wanted to touch on this because there's stuff and information about this that's going on every day. Right? So let's play this quick clip. It's like I got to play this audio about this through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua. All right, so check this out. This says facts about digital IDs from the World Economic Forum. And it's our job, again, to keep you up to date. Whatever we see and we could link it in with the Bible and it's relevant to you, it's our job to put it out there, because we're going to be directly affected by these laws of anti-Semitism and by the laws of hate speech and by the laws of misinformation and how they're going to tie it all together. We're going to be directly affected by that. So we have to let you know what's going on, right? So check this out. I'm not going to play the whole thing. I may play, I think, just his part or another part.
With a new digital...
Now, I didn't pay this guy. I don't know this guy. So you can't say we paid this guy off.
With a new digital ID system. Under the framework, the WEF proposes collecting data from...
The WEF is the World Economic Forum. right? The World Economic Forum, which is essentially a secret council of so-called government officials, world leaders, the elites, top scientists, and wise men that come together to further push the new world order. That's all it is. That's the World Economic Forum. Psalms 83, Psalm 64, Psalms 2, you know?
Under the framework, the WEF proposes collecting data from many aspects of people's everyday lives. That's a quote. Through their devices, telecommunication networks, and third-party service providers. The WEF suggests that this data collection dragnet would allow a digital ID. Now listen to this, it's very narrow. It would allow a digital ID to scoop up data on people's online behavior, purchase history, network usage.
You heard what he said, right? So if they're putting laws out there in Australia to ban you and your visa, if they find out that you're in the hate speech or speaking against a so-called Jew or anything that's contrary to America, you're going to be in that list. Right? So let's go through this again.
Very narrow. It would allow a digital ID to scoop up data on people's online behavior, purchase.
So they're going to, through your digital ID, they're going to try to determine your online behavior. What you like, what type of videos you've watched over the last few years. What did you subscribe to? Who do you follow? Who are your followers? What kind of posts you made? What stories you made? What TikToks? How long did you watch this video? They look at the analytics. How long did you watch this video? Have you bought a menorah recently? Did you buy candles? Have you bought a tent for the Feast of Tabernacles? Have you bought a flour? Have you bought olive oil? Have you bought things that pertain to unleavened bread? Where did you travel? Right? Did you get a rental to go keep the Passover? Did you do this? Did you do that? Then they'll put it all together through the AI algorithm. It'll pull you up and they'll say, that's that individual right there. That's that individual right there. And it'd be linked to your jobs. You know, you'll get jammed up at your job.
ID to scoop up data on, listen to this, it's very narrow. It would allow a digital ID to scoop up data on people's online behavior, purchase history.
Your purchase history, what have you bought recently?
Network usage.
And your network usage.
Credit history, biometrics.
Biometrics, blood type, eye scan, fingerprint.
Names, national identity numbers, and medical history.
All of that is going to be linked. That's from the World Economic Forum. Your digital ID is not just an online copy of your driver's license. It's not just an online copy of your driver's license. Your digital ID has all of that into one. So that ties directly into the hate speech and anti-Semitism, and them cutting off your bank account, cutting off your visa. You won't be able to travel, won't be able to get medical aid and medical care if they link at you. Look up your digital ID, and they find out that you're one of those guys. And you'll be able to live. You'll be here, but you'll just be out. You'll just be caught out there. You won't be able to renew a lease, pay a mortgage off through a bank institution. So that's what these devils are doing, man.
Plus your travel history.
That's why we said, man, you cannot get down with the philosophies and the system of America. Just go see your forehead and your right hand. It's in your mind. And they know what's in your mind based off of what you buy, what you purchase, you know, what you're into. And it's in your right hand based off of what you do, what you post. They know who's part of this system. They know who's who. They know who's outspoken, who's not outspoken, who's likely to be commit a crime, who's unlikely to commit a crime. They know all of that. You know?
Names, national identity numbers, and medical history. Plus your travel history, social accounts, e-government accounts, bank accounts, energy uses, health stats, education, and I love this one, and more.
And more.
What's left? Once the digital ID has access to this huge, highly personal set of data, the WEF proposes using it to decide whether users are allowed to, quote, own and use devices.
So once they get all that information, they want to get together to decide, are you going to be allowed to own a car, have a bank account? Are you going to be allowed to have a job? Are you going to be allowed to do this? What kind of job can you have? What billions can you have access to? Right? You're going to, all of that is in the scriptures. Right? Let's move on.
Quote, open bank accounts. Quote, carry out online financial transactions.
So all of that is going to be through your digital ID. So what's all linked up to your social media and who you are, all these things identify you. And they're going to use what identifies you to either have you be accepted or not be accepted.
Quote,
let me get this in Maccabees real quick. Right? They had to flee into the wilderness, man. Right? They had to live out in the wilderness. First Maccabees, chapter 2. I want to get straight to the point. First Maccabees, chapter 2, and verse number, bear with me. I want to get straight to the point. Right? I want to get straight to the point. And verse number 27. First Maccabees 2 and 27. And Mattathias cried throughout the city with a loud voice, saying, whosoever is zealous of the law and maintaineth the covenant, let him follow me. So he and his sons fled into the mountains and left all that they ever, left all that ever they had in the city. When they come after us, man, you know, the Lord said, when you see the abomination and make it desolate, you know, flee ye to the mountains, man. Because eventually they're going to come literally after us. That's where 2nd Ezra, the 16th chapter, comes in. 70 on down. Spoiling your houses, you know, and these devils are going to crack down on us. Because it's not going to be enough for us to be cut out. They're going to come after the Israelites. We're going to be the main ones they try to target. So these are the things that are going on in the earth, in the land of the living. That's why it's important not to get caught up in folly, sports, distractions, entertainment industry, right? Weaknesses and things that mean nothing, right? So let's play this a little bit more. We're going to move on to the next thing.
And use device.
And what he's reading this from the World Economic Forum. Now, I'm going to tell you something, not to be long-winded. One thing about the World Economic Forum that you have to know is that a great majority, I believe they say, I think 80% actually, about 80% or so. I know it's over 50, right? It's like maybe 75, 80. Let's say 75. 75% of world leaders, at one point in time, they were part of the World Economic Forum, right? You can look that up. At one time, I know Macron was in France, right? I know other world leaders were. Let's see, how many, let me just type this in just to see what shows up. World leaders were or are part of World Economic Forum. Check this out. Hundreds of world leaders. All I typed in was how many world leaders were part of WEF, the World Economic Forum, that back up what he's saying. Hundreds of world leaders, including many heads of state and government, attend the World Economic Forum annual meeting in Davos, Switzerland, with recent years seeing around 50 to 60 heads of state and government, alongside thousands of other global decision makers, business leaders, and experts from over 130 countries. Right? So you can't get around that. So this ain't just something going on in Baltimore.
Left. Once the digital ID has access to this huge, highly personal set of data, the WEF proposes using it to decide whether users are allowed to, quote, own and use devices, quote, open bank accounts, quote, carry out online financial transactions, quote, conduct business transaction, quote, access insurance and treatment, book trips, still quoting, go through border control between countries or regions, still quoting, access third-party services that rely on social media logins, file taxes, vote, collect benefits, end quote.
So that's what they have, huh? Right? That's what they have. That's what these are part of the thoughts of the wicked. Right? These are part of the thoughts of the wicked through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashmi Awashah. Let's get a quick precept. This one I will show on the screen. Right? This one we will show. Right? Let's go to back to Revelation, the 13th chapter. We're gonna read verse number 15 on down. Revelation chapter 13 and 15. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead. So that goes into accepting, as we're showing you, goes into accepting the system, right? Accepting the laws that they promote, getting down with this new world order, and physically being involved in it through your actions. And they see again through your purchasing, what you buy, what you post, you know, your if you're in a hate group, if you're not, all of that, they know who you are. They know what your right hand does and what's in your mind. Right? So if you are branded spiritually with the society and you do the works of this society of sin and wickedness and confusion, then you're going to be caught out there. Right? And that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666, which is complete destruction. 666 is complete destruction and imperfection. So a lot of people, man, if you don't accept this system and their philosophies and deal with their anti-Semitic laws, and you know, if you're not a person that promotes this new world order, then you're going to have your own lot, right, that you're going to have to deal with. You know, but we showed you, and they even showed you in the World Economic Forum, how you're going to be caught out there. If you speak against this society, if you speak against this government, you'll be part of that anti-Semitic, anti-American, anti-Jewish, whatever they want to say, category. And through those digital IDs and this system they about to set up, you're going to be caught out there. And he went into traveling, medical records, banks, all that. Right? They have AML laws, KYC laws, know your customer, anti-monetary laundering laws. Well, you could just be caught out there, man. Right? You could just be caught out there. This is another quick one. So I typed in digital ID and anti-Semitism. Right? It says, actually, this is what I wanted. Right? Bear with me. This is Palantir. Right? So we covered Palantir before, but just to bring it back up again. So Palantir, this is a company that helps out governments identify individuals who are likely to commit crime and that oppose laws in America, right? And really the New World Order. So Palantir provides data integration and AI-driven analysis software like Gotham to the United States government agencies, Defense, ICE, IRS, State Department for tasks ranging from battlefield intelligence and counterterrorism to immigration enforcement, helping them connect disparate data sources to make faster, more informed decisions, though this has raised significant privacy and surveillance concerns. So this is what the government uses to be able to identify individuals and cut them out, right? And cut them out of the system. It's all going to be linked through different companies and operations like this, right? And I'm gonna play one more, then I got to touch on World War III, right? I got to play one more clip, and we got to touch on what Trump said concerning Venezuela. He said they have our oil, right? They have our oil, and we have to get it back. It's damn devils, man, right? So I'm going to play a little of this clip right here, and then we're going to move on. Just wanted to touch on this. I'm not going to play the whole thing, right? But I'm going to play a little bit of it.
Yeah, I don't think anybody in the right... Let's get right into it. Why digital IDs are a terrible idea. I don't think anybody in the right mind should have one, especially if you're a multimillionaire. Digital IDs essentially let the state, whoever is in power, whether that's if you like your current government or you don't, the next government can always change, and then you don't like that one, and they will essentially be able to track everything you do, where you go, because it will be tied to your phone SIM card, and phone SIM cards essentially track everywhere you use that SIM card. Even if you travel all around the world, if you have roaming, or even if you have it installed on your phone, it can track where you are at all times. It can also track transport tickets, so if you buy train tickets, tolls, geographical data throughout all of the country and all of the world as well. What you buy, it's linked to your bank account, it's linked to your credit cards, it's linked to your crypto wallet, it's linked to basically everything where you spend money. And countries that have digital IDs tend to also have central bank digital currencies, which work hand in hand. Your digital ID tracks where you are, what you buy, what you do, and your central bank digital currency is then the wallet that the government controls. Who you talk to, social media accounts.
They got like digital wallets on your phone, right? They got Apple Wallet or your bank wallet on your phone that you use, right? Where all of that is stored at.
Will also need to be verified with a digital ID. Communications that
your algorithm, your social media, all of that is linked on your phone, right?
You have with your friends, with colleagues, with anyone, frankly, can be verified online with your digital ID and then can be tracked to you. So now, for example, we've been seeing some countries crack down on, really, some countries just don't have freedom of speech anymore. They crack down on criticism. That is going to exponentially increase because now they can truly track who you are online, even if you use an anonymous account, even if...
So they know who you are, right? Everybody, they know who you are. You know, they identified you. They already labeled you, and they could just cut you out, right? You're just going to be caught out there.
If you use a VPN, because it's tied to your digital ID, and you need that digital ID to open the social media account. What you say...
And all of that is on your phone, right? All that algorithms, what they look at is all on your phone.
Everything you post, everything you send online is linked to your legal identity and also how healthy you are. Everything about you is linked to your digital ID. Essentially,
so that's pretty much that.
Actually, the government will be able to know literally everything about you. When you buy train tickets, when you buy flight tickets, where you like to travel, what ads you like, what websites you like to visit, absolutely everything. Spend too much on meat, gas, or flights.
So that's the point, right? The point is you understand exactly, and you can watch the rest of that on your own, right? You can watch the rest of that on your own, but all of that is linked on your phone. You know, they have all of that, and the society is pushing toward the a place where you're not going to be able, if you do speak against the society and you do speak against this government and you do speak against America, right? And primarily you speak against the so-called Jew. If you speak against him, then you're going to be caught out there and cut off on every level, traveling, finances, jobs. But if you're part of this system, and they know who's part of this system based off of all of those algorithms and who you are, then you'll be, those people are going to be fine. They're going to be able to be taken care of. Let's go to 2 Maccabees 11 real quick, right? Let's go to 2 Maccabees chapter 11 and 24, right? So these are shocking current events, all right? I mean, we know what these devils are into, man, right? 2 Maccabees 11 and 24. We understand also that the Jews would not consent to our father to be brought unto the custom of the Gentiles, but had rather keep their own manner of living, for the which cause they require of us that we should suffer them to live after their own laws. And that's right. In the last days, man, they know that we're not going to consent to their laws, man. We're not going to bow down. We're not going to conform. We're not going to switch anything up. We're going to continually do the work of the Most High. You had a lot of men in the days of the Greeks who consented and left their laws to follow the laws of the nations. But the nations know that certain Israelites will never be brought under the custom of the Gentiles. The Lord even said in 2 Ezra, the 16th chapter, they're going to try to make you eat food sacrificed to idols. See if you know you're really about this thing or not. And certain men are going to consent and eat food sacrificed to idols. So all of these spirits are coming back on the earth, right? And we want to live after our own manner of living, for the which cause they require of us that they should suffer them to live after their own laws. And it's impossible to live after your own laws in America, right? They want you to conform to their customs. We read how the Amalekites said that we're going to reinvent education and textbooks and everybody's going to bow down to the New World Order. We're not going to do that, man. We're not going to do that. And if we get caught out there, if they link it up and they find out that we're doing the work of the Most High and they strip us of all of our finances, our job, then it is what it is. We're going to keep our trust in the Most High, man. We don't fear man, right? I mean, who the hell is man, right? He's flesh and blood. The Lord said, my servant shall eat. Oh, brother, what are we going to eat? What are we going to do? The Most High said, my servant shall eat. Isaiah chapter 41 and verse number 10. Fear thou not, for I am with thee. Be not dismayed, for I am thy God. I will strengthen thee. Yea, I will help thee. Yea, I will uphold thee with the right hand of my righteousness. So we're going to be protected, man. We're not worried about anti-Semitic laws and digital IDs and what happens if my job does this, and we're going to keep our faith in the Most High. Right? We're going to keep our faith in Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. We're going to stand 10 toes down for the Most High. We're going to pray for more faith. Right? We're going to pray for more virtue. We're going to pray for more trust, man, in the Most High. The Lord said he with us, man. He's going to uphold us. It says in another place, I have been old, it's like I have been young, and now I am old. Yet have I never seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging bread. That's what David said in Psalms 37. He said, I never seen a righteous man forsaken. I never seen him begging. I never seen him starving. I never seen him without. But I've seen that for the wicked, but never for the righteous. Isaiah 41 and 11. Behold, all they that were incensed against thee shall be ashamed and confounded. They shall be as nothing. They that strive with thee shall perish. Thou shalt seek them and shall not find them. Even them that contended with thee, they that war against thee shall be as nothing and as a thing of naught. For I, Yahweh, B'Hashem Yahushai, thy God, will hold thy right hand, saying unto thee, fear not, I will help thee. Fear not, thou worm Jacob, and ye men of Israel, I will help thee, saith the Lord, and thy Redeemer, the Holy One of Israel. How do you not believe it? How can you not be encouraged by that? How can your faith not be boosted by hearing it? I didn't say I'm with you. The Most High said he with you, man. I can't do nothing for you. Only the Most High could do something for you. But you have to believe that the Most High will do something for you. And keep a hedge about you and your household and protect you. And it all comes down to faith. You have to believe that. You have to believe that in those days, man. Right? And believe I touched on these. I kind of quoted these. So check this out. These are AML and KYC laws before we move on to the next thing. So I typed in AML, KYC law. So AML are anti-money laundering, KYC are know your customer laws. So this is the legal term of how they can restrict you from traveling, from getting medical help, from your banks. It's through these particular laws, right, with the digital ID. So AML and KYC laws are crucial for central bank digital currencies to prevent illicit use, requiring customer verification and transaction monitoring like traditional finance. But design challenges involve balancing privacy with strict compliance, often needing advanced tech, digital identifiers for traceability while protecting user data, a complex task as noted by bodies like the FATF. So essentially, they have their own legal ways to cut you out. Banks might handle KYC for linked digital wallets using digital ID for verification. So you try to log into your Citibank, Capital One, Bank of America, you go in there, you can't have access to funds. Account is locked. Account is frozen. Please see teller at the desk. And they're going to say, hey, look, there's nothing we could do for you. So they have KYC and AML laws, right, monitored by the FATF to be able to look at who's worthy to prosper in America, who's not worthy to prosper in America. See, these are the different things they plan on doing. Now, these devils are also doing what? They getting ready for war. They're also getting ready for a global war. And at one point in time, Trump said that Venezuela has a drug cartel and they're moving cocaine and drugs into America, right? And we have to destroy the boats that are bringing drugs into America. Well, people start saying, well, hold on now. That's not true. So Trump came out and just said, we want the oil. Let me play this, man. See, people always got on us because we said America is only involved in wars for gold and oil and drugs. Now these devils are showing their horns. Where is it at? And he just said, we want the oil, man, straight up. So they're not even hiding it, right? We want the oil. Check this out. Lock it, bear with me. Let me play this. Okay, hold on. Let me go back. Check this out. They're not even hiding it anymore.
Just a blockade. Not going to let anybody going through that shouldn't be going through. You remember they took all of our energy rights. They took all of our oil from not that long ago, and we want it back. But they
said we took all of our oil and we want it back. Hold on now. Where is that at in history? Where Venezuela invaded America, set up oil rigs and facilities, robbed the oil out of America, and went back to Venezuela and set up oil. When did that happen? They took all of our oil. They illegally took it. We want it back. Now, what Venezuela did, which a lot of other nations did, is they kicked out American oil companies and British oil companies out of Venezuela so they can have their own oil. Because America had no right being in there any damn way. So now these nations are saying, well, get the hell out, man. But America's getting mad saying, well, you stole that from us. That's wicked. How do you break into somebody's house, steal their money, you find out, you kick them out of your house, you get the money back, but the thief say, well, he stole my money and we're going to take it back. That's wickedness. You can't go into somebody's land and take damn resources and money that they got back from you. Let's go to John chapter 10. Let's go to John chapter 10. So this is a corrupt, filthy kingdom, and that's why Yahweh Ba'ashmi has to destroy it. He will burn it to the ground. John chapter 10 and 10. The thief cometh not, but for to steal and to kill and to destroy. I am come that they might have life and that they might have it more abundantly. So they're the thief in this context, right? And they're coming to steal and they're coming to kill and they want to wage war on Venezuela. Now, Venezuela has the world's largest natural oil reserve. That's what you read about in Deuteronomy 33, Genesis 49. You read about Asher, and they would have royal dainties, and they would dip their foot in oil, right? It was prophesied about the natural resources that Asher would have access to when they came to this side of the world, right? And the Venezuelans are Israelites from the tribe of Asher. This is Deuteronomy chapter 33 and verse number 24. And of Asher he said, let Asher be blessed with children. Let him be acceptable for his brethren, and let him dip his foot in oil. Thy shoes shall be iron and brass, and as thy days, so shall thy strength be. So them dipping their foot in oil and having iron and brass under their shoes speaks primarily about the natural resources that they would have in abundance. Plenty of iron, plenty of gold, plenty of oil that they have access to. And these nations know that, pursuant to the prophecy in Deuteronomy 33. So they want to go in there and take that oil. But you got nations that say, well, you're not coming in here. China said, you're not coming in here. Russia said, we got your back, Venezuela, don't sweat it. And here's a few missiles. Even Colombia and Mexico. Remember, Colombia used to be there was a state, let me pull this up. It was called Gran Colombia, where at one time, Colombia and Venezuela actually shared land. Gran, oh boy, see, I can't type this in. See, damn Satan, man. Let me try this. Gran, you can't even type it in, right? Let me see if I could just try again. All right, that's okay. All right, but you can look it up. That's Satan. You can type in Gran Colombia. Right, you can look it up, and I don't know why I can't type right here. Okay, that's all right. Let's see if I can type on the blue letter. You can type on the blue letter, but they won't have me type back on the internet. Okay, here we have it. All right. See that? Gotta go through damn loopholes. Gran Colombia, or Greater Colombia, was a short-lived South American republic from 1819 to the 1830s, founded by Simón Bolívar, uniting modern-day Colombia, Venezuela, Ecuador, and Panama, and a vision for a unified Latin America. So at one point in time, they were all together, right? Asher and Zebulon. You know, Now, Colombia said, we got your back. If we see America coming there trying to steal your oil, we got you. Don't worry about it. We'll be there, right? We will be there. Let's see if I got that. All right, let me see if I can pull that up. Colombia troops to Venezuela. Oh, now they shot it down. Last time I checked, they said they was going to help. Look, 2 days ago, Venezuelan president appeals to Colombia's military for help and Trump threats. Now they saying Colombia shoots down Venezuela's plea. You see that? Right? Now they're saying Colombia don't want to help, man. Right? Now they're saying they don't want to help. So check that out. He tried to get help from Colombia, and as of now, they said no, and that's off. Right? They're trying to get help. Now, when I looked it up too, Russia and China support Venezuela, but they said, we might not give you any troops. So keep watch. Keep watch for this. Venezuela president appeals to Colombian military for help amid Trump threats. So if they actually invade, Venezuela's going to have to need some help. Right? They're going to need help. Right? Colombia, they said, man, like a brother said, they said they ain't in it. Right? They don't want no smoke. They said, that's your problem. My name is Bennett, and I damn sure ain't in it. Now, Hugo Chavez in 2009, he said what? Here in Venezuela, we have oil for more than 100 years. The United States is running out of oil. The most important reason why the United States wants to put a government here that is subordinate to it, to the empire, as they had a long time, is Venezuelan oil. Right? He said they just want the oil. He been saying that over 20 years, damn near 20 years ago. They just want the oil, man. Right? Let's go to Micah, chapter 2 and 1. Let's get a quick precept. Right? Micah, and we press for time, right? We're running out of time. Micah chapter 2 and 1. Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hands or hand. So you have nations of people, Esau, who thinks about how to rape, rob, murder, molest, sin, pilfer, pillage, rifle, kill, hang, lynch, stab, shoot, beat, bust through, brutalize, and any other form of torture. You think about this on their bed while you're thinking about catching the bus. Do I have enough gas? I got to pay this bill, that bill. Are my children okay? Can I make ends meet? That's what you're thinking about. You think he's thinking about his damn light bill, man? This devil ain't thinking about what you're thinking about. The Bible tells you what he's thinking about. In his bed, he's thinking about how to bomb and murder and commit all manner of wickedness on the earth. Proverbs 4 says they can't even go to sleep unless they cause something to fall. They got to get some good night rest, but they got to think about evil first. When that sun come up, they get up and they do the evil because they have the power, the connections, the technology, and the resources to do the evil. The power's in their hand. They run the earth. They think about evil at night and they do it in the morning because they can't. So they're going to go to Venezuela. They're going to do these things, man. Micah 2 and 2. And they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage. So they covet lands. They look at different lands. They lust. Oh, that land got oil. Damn, that land got opium. Damn, that land got gold. That land has diamonds. Man. And they take it by violence. And they oppress people, man. House is in their heritage. Right? So they oppress and they remove the landmark. That's Job chapter 24 and verse number 2. Some remove the landmarks They violently take away flocks and feed thereof, man. That's what Esau do. They take away borders, shift lands, displace people, set up puppet governments, and rape, rob, and murder everybody who opposes them. So you got that going on. Russia, this is from AA.com. Russia reiterates support for Venezuela, urges de-escalation between Washington. So Russia said, we got you, man. What that's going to look like, we don't know yet. That's from December 18th. We don't know exactly what that's going to look like. Is Russia going to help them with missiles? Is Russia going to send troops to Venezuela? Let's find out, right? It's our job to watch. We're watching. We're seeing everything going on in the earth and tying it into the Bible. And what we're going to do is we're going to continually pray to Yahweh Shema Shai, repent from our transgressions, gather together, keep the law, statutes, and commandments, prophesy the end of the world, the restoration of the 12 tribes, get our houses in order, let go for immortal thoughts, get into these prophecies, and get your spirit right, full of integrity and virtue in the last days. That's what we're working on, man. Right? We're not worried about, well, what if we get bombed? What if I'm in Venezuela? We ain't thinking like that, man. That's how they think. Let these heathen worry about it. We're worried about getting eternal life. So you got that going on in South America, and way over there in Europe, you got war going on the scene. It's December 15th. Here's what they said, man. Britain must be ready to sacrifice our sons and daughters. Chief of Defense Staff chillingly warns. It comes as an MI6 declared a shadow war with Russia. So they declared a shadow war with Russia. And Britain said, look, man, you're going to lose your sons and your daughters are going to die in these wars. And it's not a damn thing you can do about it. So war is on the horizon. And 2nd Ezra 16, the Most High said, many on the earth shall perish of the sword, and the others that escape the sword shall die of hunger, paraphrasing. And the Lord said that the bridegrooms shall mourn having no helpers, and the virgins shall mourn having no husbands. For in the wars shall their husbands be destroyed, paraphrasing. So this is true. The wars are going to kill off a lot of sons, man. A lot of men are going to die in these wars. So you got that. What else? Germany. Germany came out and said what? As the United States pull away from confrontation with Russia, Berlin is moving fast to fill the gap. So Berlin and England is getting ready for war. And Germany, they're second in command. And they're taking control over Europe. Right? France ain't going to do it. Ain't going to step up, man. They leaders dealing with a whole dude, with a man. Yes, Macron is dealing with a man. Britain, they're bugged out. They're arresting people over tweets. Only Germany is going to stand up and say, we're going to defend Europe. If anybody has to go to war with Russia, we're going to do it. That's what Germany said. So Germany is getting ready for war. Britain is getting ready for war. Right? The Netherlands, not too long ago, 8.5 million people in the Netherlands, households. What are they doing? They have received a government booklet titled Prepare for an Emergency. So everybody's getting ready for war. The Netherlands, and their mailbox from the government, they're reading pamphlets on how to get ready to die. Imagine that, man. How to survive a nuclear holocaust. So there's a spirit of war in the earth. You're not getting those sales papers that your granny has, man, that nobody uses in the mail. They're not getting a newspaper from the who's that mail boy, man, who ride the bike. And their mailbox is a pamphlet on how to get ready to survive a nuclear holocaust. Floods and war and cyber attacks. Now check this out. The 33 page, check that out, 33 damn pages, man. So they mean business. They put some thought into this. The 33-page brochure, which will be delivered from November 25th and January 10th, sets out practical steps for the first 72 hours of a major incident. For example, the booklet says a successful attack on the power grid could leave people unable to contact family. Petrol stations, those are gas stations, petrol stations would close and supermarkets could empty and fresh water supplies may halt. So that's in the Netherlands. Everybody's getting ready for war, man. Why? Why is Germany stepping up? America getting ready. England said, get ready to lose your son and your daughters. The Netherlands said, here, everybody take a pamphlet. We ain't going to make it in 72 hours. Let's get Jeremiah 50. But the Negro is worried about folly, right? How many more years does Diddy has? Does 50 Cent really have Jay-Z, right, hemmed up? Who's going to win the next big game, right? That's what Jake is worried about. With all these current events going on, you be out of your damn mind, man, not to be watching, paying attention to what the Most High is doing on the earth, looking at the prophecies, diving into these scriptures. You be out of your mind, man. Jeremiah 50 and 22. A sound of battle is in the land and of great destruction. That's why Germany, Russia, Venezuela, America, all of these nations, I believe even Canada, where's that? I had that too. Canada said they getting ready for war, right? I have to find it. But Canada said they getting ready for war. Let me see if I can find that. If it's not there, then, but they came out and said that. Look at this. Yep, 3 days ago. 3 days ago. Damn, look at this dyke. That's the top general. Well, how do you know she's a dyke? How do you know she's not a woman of the Lord? I mean, look at her. Canada's top general, that's their top general. I mean, I'm not surprised it's Canada. See, in the ancient world, the heathen had top men like Goliath. You know, they had giants, and you know, you had warriors, and you had lion-like men of Moab, and men with 6 fingers. And now look at the heathen. That's their top general. And they're getting ready for war. If this woman came to me and told me she's getting ready for war, man, I'll laugh at her damn face. But the point is, Canada is getting ready for war. General Jeannie Kerrigan is not a fan of mandatory service, so she's not for the draft. And there's so much work to do to modernize defenses, but she's a woman prepared for battle. So Canada's not going to make it. Maybe they might make it. No, they're not going to make it. If that's their top general, and knowing the history of Canada, they're getting ready for war, but they're not going to make it either. They're not going to make it, right? She has no idea what's going on. Now, you can ask me, well, how do you know? You're not a general. I don't have to be in Canada's military to know if she knows what's going on. She don't know what's going on. Only the Most High knows what's going on. And there's no prophecy of Canada making it out of World War III. Right? There's no prophecy where Canada and the elect get beamed up. Let's go to Matthew 24 and 44. Okay. Matthew 24 and 44. I'm going to start at 42. Watch therefore, for ye know not what hour your Lord doth come. So the Lord could return. All hell could break loose any second. And there ain't no woulda, shoulda, couldas in the days of evil. Damn, I should have read. If only I would have prayed that one more time. I could have fasted that extra day. I could have went to camp. I could have did this. And ain't no woulda, shoulda, couldas in the days of evil. Do it while you can. Do it. The Lord said, withhold not good to whom it is due, while it is in the power of your hand, in Proverbs, the 3rd chapter. So if you have power to do someone good by, doing the work of the Most High and utilizing the talents that the Heavenly Father gave you, do it while you can. The Most High also said, and in your deeds be not slack or remiss. Right? So don't play around and tempt the spirit of the Most High, man. Put your hand to the plow. Verse 43, Matthew 24:43. But know this, that if the good man of the house had known and would watch the thief would come, he would have watched and would not have suffered his house to be broken up. And your house represents your body, your household. And keeping watch is doing exactly what we've been doing. We've been doing real-time watch. We've been looking up stuff for the last 2.5 hours, 3 hours, diving into current events, from war to the digital ID, to buying, to selling, to accepting its philosophies in your mind and in your right hand, to Venezuela, to all these things. And that's good that you're watching. So you're cognizant of what the Most High is doing on the earth. Matthew 24:44. And you also know how close it is. Therefore, be ye also ready, for in such an hour as they think not, the Son of Man cometh. So you got riots going on, right? You got farmers burning buildings down in Brussels and Belgium. I mean, all hell is breaking loose on the earth, man. People are burning buildings down in Belgium, right? Brussels, Italy, France is protesting. All hell is breaking loose in Europe, but you don't know about that. People don't know about that. They're waiting on the next Diddy trial. But all of Europe is literally on fire right now. The world is on the brink of a total collapse, and people are worried about the playoffs. People aren't watching. They have no idea that Italy, Belgium, France, there are riots going on, sedition and anarchy all over Europe. And they saying why that's going on, they said we're getting ready for war. But Jake is worried about who's going to be the #1 scorer in the NBA. I mean, what is it? 3 o'clock in the morning, Jake just passed out. Well, they still roaming the streets, man, looking to freak off on something. We know what you Negroes do Saturday, 3 in the morning. You're somewhere getting high, throwing up, or roaming the streets, looking to freak off. Doesn't matter if it's 5 degrees or not, man. Lusting. You're up playing a video game all night. Here it is. It's the new moon and the Sabbath and the Feast of Dedication, and Jake is still out there following the flesh. He refuses to move in the spirit, man. So we have to watch, because there's so much going on. And there's stuff that, like I said, see all of the tabs, there's stuff that I couldn't even put on the computer. Damn, this computer been giving me hell. Satan been working. So there's more that you got to search out. You want to be a wise and faithful servant. Stay prayed up. You know, the Lord said in Luke, and I may get this, we may close out with this, we may get one more. Luke 21:34. And take heed to yourselves, lest at any time your hearts be overcharged with surfeiting and drunkenness and cares of this life, and so that day come upon you unaware. So watch your spirit, man. Don't be too active in the world, or you lose sight of the kingdom of heaven. If you too in the world, stuff is passing by and you're not going to know what's going on. You're going to be caught out there. Verse 35. For as a snare shall it come on all them that dwell on the face of the whole earth. Watch ye therefore, and pray always, that ye may be accounted worthy to escape these things, or all these things rather, Salakia, to escape all these things that shall come to pass, and to stand before the Son of Man. So pray always that we're worthy to escape everything we went into, man, and that the Most High has a hedge about us, and he protects us and deliver us from this day and into the days of evil. So with that, we're going to close up. Giving all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashima Mashiach, Wamalak Yabushai. Most High willing you are edified. Are you watching shocking current events? Feast of dedication. It's the 10th month and it's the Shabbat. Keep everything holy. Kwam Yashalom. Shalom.